If you've ever built a weekend bankroll on Thursday night, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We made it all the way to the end of the week. It is Friday, October 10th. We are going to round out a good week strong. We're going to have some fun today. We've got Mark Petrino today. Word on the street, a little bird told me that Dan Leach might join us near the end of the program to give away some bets. I've got a couple of bets to give away here if anyone wants. I actually gave away one on the happy hour last night. That was a 9-bagger that hit. So hopefully somebody from the happy hour took that. But we got a lot of stuff to go through. Again, some news. Mark Petrino, 13 is going to be here. We're going to do some trading. Then we got Anne Marie, and it is Friday, folks. It is Friday, and the Cubs are still playing ball after their game yesterday. If you can't tell, I'm excited. It's good to see everybody. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Friday, October 10th, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I hope the rest of your Thursday went well, both in trading and then in the evening. I know mine did. And now here we are at Friday, ready to welcome the weekend. We got one more session to get through here today. We did say on happy hour yesterday that it seems that Fridays and Mondays, the market generally is up. So we'll see if we get that here today. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Today, Raffle is first. Raffle, good morning. Welcome. Early bird gets the worm here today. I love it. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. EKS, it's good to see you as always, boss. Really appreciate all of your support here. EKS mentioning Hive. They build Bitcoin mining centers that can also be used as AI data centers. And Hive is up 3.75% here this morning. EKS, good stuff. Let me know if you have any targets on that. We'll take a look at that. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Dan, good morning. Producer, buongiorno a tutti. I don't know if my Italian is good at all or if that sucked, but good morning, and it's good to see you again. The guy with the Russian name, I can't even pronounce any of the letters. Welcome. Hopefully all is well with you, and hopefully all is well in Russia. Brian, good morning. Good day to be an APLD from 1050. Yeah, I would agree. They reported earnings last night, didn't they? That thing is popping here today. I want my first ever registering. Brian, you've never got a registering? We're going to give you 3 then. That's a big time winner. That's actually a triple up, isn't it? APLD, you're in at 1050. That thing is printing 37. That's a triple up. That's 3 register rings. Brian, you must be having a good Friday here. Good stuff. Kelly O, hello there. Well, hello to you, Kelly O. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. Brian said he woke up like Christmas morning. Always a good feeling. Christmas in October? Yeah, I'll take it. That's good stuff. Yes, that girl. Happy Friday. Let's go. I love the energy. Yes, that girl. That is awesome. Welcome. Sun-kissed Yogi. Good morning. Welcome. James, good morning. Welcome back. Mark, good morning. Zach, good morning. Cam, good morning. I can't pronounce what you were saying there, Cam, but it sounded like it came from the heart. So good stuff. Whisk, good morning. B-Hall, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Kevin, welcome back. Peter, good to see you again. Welcome back. Judge, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Tom, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Faves, good morning. Brandy, welcome back. Good morning. Supri, good morning. All That Glitters, good morning. Just Passing Through. Good morning, boss. Day traders locked in. Good to see you as always. Maz, good morning. Scott, good morning. Sideshow, good morning. Durkus, good morning. Smoke Tuna here, locked in early. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. Let's go. Mike, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Yassine, you were in happy hour last night, right? Did you stick around to the end? You can confirm I gave away a bet that won. 9-bagger bet that won last night. Hopefully Gary took it. Alvin, good morning. Welcome back. Glenn, how about those Chi-Town boys? Brother, we're playing more baseball here in Chicago. 6-0. Homers from King Tuck, Ian Happ, and Michael Bush. Oh, that was a good game. Glenn, I got something for you. Here. Check this out. courtesy of the great Jesse Rogers. Per ESPN stats, entering this year, there have been 90 teams in MLB postseason history to lose the first two games of a best of five. 17 of the 90 bounced back to force a game five. And of those that forced a game five, 10 have gone, they've gone 10-7 in that decisive game. So we'll see on Saturday. Hopefully them Cubbies can do some more awesome stuff there. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, Alvin, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Well done, Cubs. And watch the Habs against your Hawks. Can't wait for that. Going to bet that game, too. That's tomorrow, right? I'm going to bet that game. Cole Caulfield is something else on that Habs team. Dark Side Hemi. That is such a good handle. I want to see a picture of that car. I can't see it in your little preview there because it's really small, but it's awesome. D, good morning. Hockey player, good morning. Indeed, it's going to be a great Friday. Thinking about it. Good morning. GSRT merger today. I know 13 is ready for that. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. Lorena Lopez, good morning. Yesterday, I won an Apex account. I sent the email and didn't receive any code or instruction to claim the account. Please help. Okay, I don't have a direct access to them, but let me get my team to work on that. Someone I'm sure can help you. So Lorena, don't worry. You are a winner. We'll make sure that you get hooked up there. Let me get started on that. Workstation, good morning. Johnny, good morning. Oh, God, we got so many people here. This is awesome. Bogey's Adventure, good morning. Sea Boogie, good morning. Lambo Rolls, welcome back. It's good to see you. Dara, Neville, and Seniat, good morning. Lion is locked in. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Joseph, good morning. Angelito, good morning. Krishna, good morning. Jesse Livermore, let's go. We're going to have some short trades from you, I'm thinking. Good morning. Welcome back. Joe, good morning. Laura in Florida, good morning. Jay Grant, good morning. Yassine confirms that I did give away a winning bet. Let's go. Let's go. Heidi Run, morning from Panama. What's the weather like down there in Panama? Welcome back. Let's see. Who else did I? Keith, good morning. Fjord and Forest. I love that handle so much. Anyone that uses Fjord on a regular basis is a winner in my book. So you're a winner. Good morning, Bobby. Good morning, JG. Good morning, and Adit. Good morning. Okay, and Fjord also did not receive the email. Okay, we'll check in on that. Looks like there's multiple people here. I'll have someone from our team check in on that. Remember, Benzinga, myself, the producer, and the rest of the Benzinga staff don't manage any of those giveaways that David Green and Peter do. So we might not be able to help you as quickly as you want, but I promise we will do everything in our power to try and get you help with that. Super Rich, good morning, and Life in Beta. Good morning. Hopefully not life as a beta, but that's another story. All right. Like I said, I'm in a really good mood today. All right, let's do the stock market today. Oh, I didn't share the screen. All right, futures green across the board, although close to unchanged, a little bit here to the upside. S&P futures up 0.15%, Dow futures up 0.16%, and the NASDAQ futures also up 0.16%. Let's take a look at some cues from the last session here. Industrials, materials, and energy stocks recorded Thursday's biggest losses as most sectors on the S&P 500 closed negatively. Consumer staple stocks, however, bucked the overall market trend and finished the session higher. This was part of a broader downturn in which U.S. stocks settled lower, with the Dow Jones Index falling more than 240 points and the S&P 500 and NASDAQ Composite retreating from their record highs. Despite the market decline on Thursday, corporate earnings provided some bright spots. Delta Airlines, ticker DAL, jumped 4.3% after beating estimates, while Pepsi, ticker PEP, gained 4.2% after posting an adjusted EPS of $2.29, slightly above expectations, but down 2% from a year earlier. Meanwhile, President Trump hinted that he was gearing up to discuss soybeans and other trade issues with Chinese President Xi Jinping ahead of a potential in-person meeting later this month. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.11%, and the 2-year bond yielded 3.58%. Now, we do have some more stocks and focus here today. First one you folks are already talking about. Applied Digital, ticker APLD, jumped 25.74% in the pre-market on Friday after it reported $64.2 million in revenue for its first fiscal quarter. That was a sharp increase from the $34.8 million during the same period last year. APLD maintained a stronger price trend over the short, medium, and long term with a moderate growth ranking as per our proprietary rankings and trend indicators. That looks real good right now. Congrats to all of you that are long in that. USANA Health Sciences, ticker USNA, that tumbled 13% after reporting preliminary results for the third quarter, seeing an adjusted loss of 15 cents per share and sales of $214 million. Elastic NV, ticker ESTC, gained 10.12% after the company announced three major updates. It finalized the acquisition of Gina AI, rolled out a new GPU-powered inference service, and approved a $500 million stock buyback program. Another one on the list here is Stellantis. This is ticker STLA. They rose 2.64% after its consolidated shipments from the third quarter reached an estimated 1.3 million units, representing a 13% increase compared to the same period last year. Amcor rounds out our list of stocks to focus on today. That's ticker AMCR. Shares climbed 4.6% as the company announced changes to its executive leadership and reaffirmed its financial outlook for fiscal year 2026. All right, let's start with the SPY chart. Let's take a look and see where we sit here today. As mentioned, we did set a new all-time high yesterday, but we immediately pulled back from that. I haven't adjusted the upside level yet. I probably will at the end of the close, especially depending on what happens here today. But you can see we're basically trading sideways in a fairly tight range, about a 5-point range here between 667 and 673. I know here this morning we're at 672.11, so we're not very far from breaking out of that 673 handle if we do have some strength here today. Of course, we are definitely still looking at the 20-day moving average as a downside support area should the market pull a little bit. That value is at 665.45 or 665.5. We do have the 50-day moving average down there at 651, but at this point, I think we would need a bigger macro event or some type of event that the market actually cared about to bring us down to that level. Unsure if we see that. If we take a look inside on the SPY, this is what we did yesterday. You can see the reason I didn't really adjust this is because we basically had that opening print and then we immediately sank beneath it. I still suspect that 673 is a key level. So again, that's one of the things I'm going to be watching here today. The other thing of note is that yesterday when we did sell off, we basically found support at the intraday low from Wednesday. So I know we might have peaked beneath it a little with some of these candles, with some of these downside wicks, but for all intents and purposes, we basically held 669.5. That also will be a key level here today, depending on which direction the market takes. Let's go back and get some insights from analysts here. According to Scott Wren, senior global strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, viewing the current S&P 500 through the lens of historical price to earnings ratios is not apples to apples comparison. While acknowledging that stocks aren't cheap, Wren argues that the makeup of the index has fundamentally changed. Quote, today, S&P 500 index is built around high-quality, high-growth companies that have been producing strong revenue and earning streams. Over 40% of the index's value now consists of high-growth technology and tech-like companies, a significant shift from the slower-growth industrial companies that once dominated. These modern companies naturally command higher PE ratios. This is something that we've actually discussed quite a bit. And this, I hear some back and forth on this, whether it's our shows, the happy hour, or even on CNBC. People are talking about, well, there's historically high PEs for some of these stocks, even something like Apple or semiconductors stocks, traditionally traded at, a 10 or 12 times price to earnings multiple. And now they're trading at 30 or sometimes higher than that. And I think that they're making the point here that there is kind of a shift going on. And, we'll see if these new PE levels kind of carve out a new standard or a new base. Tough to say now. It does seem like fundamentals don't really matter, and they probably won't matter until all of a sudden they do matter again. So we'll see how it shakes out. But he brings up a really good point here about PE ratios kind of needing to be, quote, modernized. Ren cautions that using PE ratios is not a reliable gauge to time when to buy or sell, noting that expensive markets can continue to rise. Instead of fixating on the headline PE numbers, he advises investors to look for value in different ways. This includes exploring S&P 500 equal weight indexes, which has a more reasonable PE of 18.9 times, and finding less costly avenues to invest in major trends like artificial intelligence. You know what that sounds like a little bit to me? Yeah, that sounds like what Tim Melvin does and talks to us about literally every Wednesday here. Tim Melvin has been working overtime, frankly, giving us some of the different scans in pro that rely on the Petrovsky F-score and the Altman Z-score and perhaps a price-to-book ratio that might give us a more curated list of stocks. So shout out to him for all of that. Here's what investors are going to be keeping an eye on today. Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee speaks at 9:45. Preliminary consumer sentiment data for October will be out by 10, and the September monthly U.S. federal budget data will be delayed because of the shutdown. I also believe we have Musalem speaking this afternoon. I don't have the time right here. Excuse me, I do. 1 p.m. And then that Michigan consumer sentiment number, it's not going to be delayed. It's the University of Michigan, not the federal government. We get that at 10 o'clock in the morning here today. All right, another news story here. Liz Ann Saunders making some news here. The chief investment strategist at Charles Schwab highlighted certain unusual divergences in the small cap market. And this is particularly interesting to me because the small cap market is, I think, where a lot of people are going to be focusing, especially if we continue to get the rate cutting cycle that we're anticipating. On Thursday, in a post on X, Saunders broke down the composition of the Russell 2000 index and the performance of its constituents, highlighting that 57% of the index is currently profitable, while 41% of the index is currently unprofitable. And 2% of the index doesn't currently have earnings data available. She noted that the stocks losing money have been leading the charge higher in recent months. Yes, you heard that right. Stocks losing money have been leading the charge higher in recent months. Let me know, any of you that have been around for a while, or really anyone that has an opinion on this, frankly. Let me know what you think about that. Is that a red flag? Is that something to be concerned about? You'll have to tell me. Since the Russell 2000's April 8 closing low, the most profitable stocks on the index are up 22%, while the loss-making stocks are up 53%. And she gives us a list here. Some of these should really be obvious to us. Open was something that we talked about all of the time. Even VIGL. I think there were several of you that traded this. Of course, ASTS is on there, METC is on there, and APPS is on there. All of those make the show quite often. TDUP also on there, but I feel like we don't talk about that one as much. If you want the access to the Liz Ann Saunders tweets, they're contained within the article that I have posted in the chat for you. As of Thursday's close, the Russell 2000 index, which primarily tracks small cap U.S. equities, is up 40.2% since the 52-week low on April 8th following the Liberation Day tariffs. The S&P 500, on the other hand, it's up 39.2% during the same period. Just unbelievable run. The small cap index, tracked by the Russell 2000 ETF IWM, touched an all-time high last month following the 25 basis point interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve. The rate cut offered much-needed relief for smaller companies by lowering borrowing costs amid tough macroeconomic conditions. So we'll see what the future has in store for the small caps. I know that watching the rate cutting cycle is definitely going to be on deck here. If you're trading small caps, this is going to be one of the most important things to watch. We'll see if we do get our cut here in October, or if they pause and wait till December. And actually, I'd like to see if the opinions have changed for anybody on the timing of those rate cuts. China hands Trump the next America First stock as U.S. rare earth soars on export curbs. Easy for me to say. We looked a little bit at USAR yesterday. We've been talking about this one really since the news broke. This, along with MP here. Something remarkable just happened in the global resource chessboard, and it could turn into President Trump's next America First trade. When Beijing tightened its grip on rare earth exports last week, it didn't just rattle global supply chains, it lit a fire under USAR. The stock surged more than 15% Thursday morning as investors bet that the U.S. will double down on domestic production of critical minerals essential to defense and AI manufacturing. China's Commerce Ministry announced fresh restrictions requiring government approval for the exports of products containing certain rare earth metals, the same strategic resources used in everything from EV motors to missile guidance systems. Beijing already controls about 85% of global refining capacity and 90% of magnet production, giving it immense leverage in trade disputes. And with tensions running high again, this feels more like a direct replay of the 2019 trade war, except this time, Washington looks more ready to respond. Enter enter USA Rare Earth. The company is building a vertically integrated supply chain on U.S. soil, mining, refining, and magnet manufacturing, all without Chinese inputs. Even though it's still years from profitability and burning through roughly $100 million annually, an export ban from Beijing effectively creates a political momentum. Let me know if any of you folks have a longer-term view here on USAR. Does this news kind of change things for you? This has me thinking, because I don't think that this administration is going to give up trying to fight China and beat China in this trade war. And if USAR is going to be a beneficiary of that, because I still think we're going to need all these critical minerals and magnets, it might be a pretty good longer-term trade, or at least a little bit longer swing trade here. Trump's team has made no secret of wanting to secure domestic control of rare earths and other critical minerals. If the U.S. government continues in its recent pattern of taking stakes in strategic assets, as it did in Lithium Americas, ticker LAC, and Trilogy Metals, ticker TMQ, rare earth, USA Rare Earth, could be next in line. Essentially, when China constricts exports, America subsidizes production, and USA Rare Earth sits squarely in the crosshairs of geopolitical necessity. USA Rare Earth is still speculative for those betting on Trump's America First policies and in a fractured global supply chain. This might be a worthwhile play. All right, let's see. Where are we? How are we doing on time? Oh, we are doing beautiful on time here today. I said that this was going to be a great Friday, and man, oh man, did I mean it. All right, we got this K-shaped economy that y'all have been hearing about. Wall Street continues to break records while signs of stress mount on everyday Americans, underscoring the K-shaped nature of the U.S. economy, where the top climbs higher while the bottom stagnates or falls behind. Quote, Wall Street is now 6 times the size of Main Street, end quote. That came from Bank of America chief investment strategist Michael Hartnett in a recent note. And I'm going to pause here and go on a little bit of a rant, because this is something that means a tremendous amount to me. As I've told you folks before, both my parents were teachers. Neither of them were particularly wealthy. They were smart with money. They sacrificed their adult lives to make sure that their children had the best possible lives, and I will be forever in debt for that. But this growing up, this made me think, there's got to be a way to help secure your financial future. And with neither of my parents really being interested in stocks, I took it upon myself to learn that, to try and better my own life, and perhaps theirs as well. And I say all the time, you can do this. Anyone can do this. It doesn't matter, man, woman. It doesn't matter where you're from. It really doesn't matter how old you are. If you take the time to learn some of this stuff, you can do this. And I promise you that nobody out there cares more about your own money than you do. So for me, seeing this, that Wall Street is way ahead of Main Street, this again just kind of proves my thesis that everybody at some point should take an interest in this and try and better their own financial future. If you're not participating in Wall Street, you're losing, period. You want to be able to participate. There are plenty of ways to do it in a very conservative way where you're not putting lots of money at risk. Hell, just owning a couple of dividend stocks that Tim Melvin suggests on a regular basis might be enough over a long period of time to really kind of change how the rest of your life goes. This is very, very important to me. And it's one of the reasons why I'm honored to be in the position that I am, because I get to use my energy and my affinity for the stock market and finance to kind of help others. And I'm glad. It's one of the reasons why I get so excited when everyone shows up here. I feel like everyone that shows up here on a regular basis is absolutely trying to better the life for them and their family. And to me, that's exactly what we should be doing. So this definitely kind of hits home. Continuing here, while equity wealth is at an all-time high and top earners are outpacing everyone else in wage growth, the first cracks in subprime credit markets and consumer finance stocks suggest parts of the economy are not as strong as the market averages imply. Despite the absence of official job statistics due to the government shutdown, Bank of America's internal data shows that wage growth picked up across income tiers in September. After-tax pay for high-income households rose 4% year over year, the fastest pace since October of 2021. For middle-income households, wage growth was 2.4%, while lower-income households saw just 1.4%, underscoring a persistent and widening gap. The divergence in wage growth mirrors both the broader labor, let me start that over. The divergence in wage growth mirrors the broader labor market slowdown. Payroll growth, based on direct deposit inflows into Bank of America accounts, rose just 0.5% year over year in September, its slowest pace in months. Meanwhile, unemployment insurance payments surged 10% year over year in October, double the 5% pace reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics in August. Despite these labor market headwinds, risk assets are soaring amid expectations that the Fed will continue to cut interest rates. The NASDAQ 100, tracked by Invesco QQQ, has rallied 50% since April, fueled by expectations of lower interest rates and resilient corporate earnings. Wealth effects are at a record high, particularly among the highest income Americans who control a majority of the equity ownership. According to the Federal Reserve data, the top 10% of earners now hold 87% of all U.S. equities. The top 1% alone control 38%. Quote, equity ownership is always concentrated at the high end, but a bit more so recently, said 22V research analyst Gerald McDonald, in a recent note. This concentration means that rising stock prices disproportionately benefit the wealthy and may continue driving spending and confidence at the top, even if economic conditions weaken elsewhere. Quote, if you want to worry about the cycle, I would worry mostly about things that affect rich people and their behavior, end quote. On Main Street, the picture is far less rosy. The widening gulf between Wall Street and Main Street just claimed a major casualty. First Brands Group, the auto parts maker behind names like Fram and Raybestos, filed for bankruptcy in September with $10 billion in debt, another sign that the low-income slice of the economy is under acute stress. First Brands' business model was heavily geared toward lower-income drivers, those who repair aging cars instead of replacing them. As inflation squeezed budgets and pandemic-era healthcare subsidies rolled off, those drivers pulled back on maintenance spending. The fallout of First Brands was a wake-up call for private equity investors. Firms like KKR, Blackstone, and Apollo Global Management have seen their shares sharply underperform the S&P 500 in recent weeks as fears grow over the exposure to consumer-facing, low-income leveraged companies. Hartnett at Bank of America notes that private equity stocks are trading close to their 2022 relative lows compared to the broader index. The bottom line here is that the U.S. economy is increasingly bifurcated. On one side, asset holders and high-income earners are enjoying a historic wealth surge, and on the other, job growth is slowing, wage gains are uneven, and credit pressures are rising for lower-income Americans. For now, equity markets are betting that these fractures won't spread, but in a K-shaped recovery, fortunes depend more than ever on where you fall on the curve. And this, again, is why even with a small amount of money, if you have time, it is in your best interest to get that invested and let that keep going. Buy a less flashy car, buy less stuff, invest your money. Invest your money. And if you have a job that offers investment perks like 401k matching or anything else, probably best to max that too. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay, we got to cover APLD, right? I think I have. Let me see. Let me make sure Mark Petrino. Yep, Mark's good here. Mark's good. So when he joins, we'll go to him. But we are going to cover APLD first here. I know several of you have this and have probably had it for a while. Looking at you, Bri. But here's what's going on. Applied Digital reported financial results for the first quarter of fiscal 2026 after the market closed on Thursday. Here are some key details from that report. It's demonstrating extremely bullish strength. It reported first quarter revenue of $64.22 million. That beat analyst estimates of $49.99 million. Wow, big beat there. The digital infrastructure provider reported a first quarter adjusted loss of 3 cents per share, beating analyst estimates of a loss of 13 cents per share. Total revenue was up 84% on a year-over-year basis, primarily driven by $26.3 million of revenue related to tenant fill-out services associated with the company's high-performance computing hosting business. That was a mouthful. The rest of the growth was largely due to performance improvements in Applied Digital's data center business. Applied Digital highlighted the signing of an additional 150 megawatts lease for its Polaris Forge 1 campus during the quarter, bringing the full 400 megawatts of critical IT load under contract with CoreWeave. This deal secures approximately $11 billion in prospective lease revenues over the 15-year term. This is important. Remember, we had the CoreWeave CEO yesterday, or I guess the day before when he was on Mad Money, saying that there's a ton of demand for the stuff that we're doing here. It's actually not bad. It's not circular. There's actual demand. I know Chano says he doesn't see a return on that. Maybe he's right. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it sure looks like the demand here is good. You've got another company saying the exact same thing. Here, regarding our day trader, way to put this succinctly regarding our recent discussion here, live below your means and invest the difference. This probably, I know some of you are going to disagree with me and think it's individual stock tips. This right here, probably some of the best advice we will ever say on the show, ever. With you on that one, day trader. We feel, quote, we feel third lease validates our platform and execution, positioning Applied Digital as a trusted strategic partner for the world's largest technology companies. That came from Wes Cummings, chairman and CEO of Applied Digital. With the hyperscalers expected to invest approximately $350 billion into AI development this year, we believe we are in a prime position to serve as the modern day picks and shovels of the intelligence area. We talk all the time about the thing behind the thing. It looks like APLD is morphing into exactly that. And you guys are long from 10. Let's go. Applied Digital ended the quarter with approximately $114.1 million in cash equivalents, and restricted cash, and $687.3 million of total debt. Quote, our team remains focused on securing capital at the lowest possible cost, building repeatable financing structures, and positioning the company to scale development across the U.S. So big win here, Applied Digital. Really quick, right before we go to Mark here, here's a look at the chart. Again, this is what it's doing here this morning. Look at this. No wonder y'all that hold this are excited. No wonder. What a move here. Here's what the daily looks like. Things going from 6 to midnight here. Look, break above the all-time highs. Ooh, we're going to give another registering. All right, folks. It's Friday. We're having a great day so far, and it's about to get better because Mark Petrino is here. Let's talk to him. Mark, good morning. Happy Friday. How you doing, boss?
Hey, Brian. I'm doing good. I'm enjoying watching the value of my account go up every day. So that's a plus.
That's absolutely fantastic. You know what, Mark? You get a register ring too. We're gonna be like Oprah out here, just giving away register rings today. That's great. Okay, you'll be happy to know that it's fall here in the Midwest. We've got like high 60s, low 70s temperature, and I am going golfing this afternoon, and it is going to be phenomenal. I will let you know if I use the leaf rule today.
Yes, you need to invoke the leaf rule every now and then.
Okay, we will see how that goes. You want to share your screen? What do you got on deck for us today?
Well, I guess the most obvious thing is, let's see here, is everyone's asking me about shutdown. Can you guys see it now?
Yeah, I have to share it, so that's a user error, as they say.
So people have been asking me about the shutdown and will it be bad for market and this and that and the other thing. And it sounds bad, but I think it's just political posturing. They're not going to shut the government down forever. It's going to reopen. And I actually put this on my website. Let's take a look at this. I have the history here of the last times the government shut down.
You're sharing the Benzinga homepage, FYI.
Oh, interesting. All right, let me.
You just share a different tab. There should be a button at the top there.
All right. Can you see it now? My website?
No, I still see the. Oh, there we go. This says posts. So this looks like your Substack.
Yeah. So anyway, I put this out on my site. This is the what happened the last bunch of times the federal government was shut down.
Mark, we still see a create post screen. We do not see whatever content you are trying to share.
Really? All right. Let me unshare and then try to share again because something is obviously going weird here. All right, I think this is working now.
There we go. There we
Okay,
go.
cool. All right, so this just kind of struck me, and I thought it was worth talking about. So, I wake up, whatever day it was, come downstairs here to my office, and it's like Dow futures tumble 200 points on fears of drawn out shutdown. First of all, the Dow Jones is at like 41,000, right? 200 points is nothing. This is just hype. But if you didn't understand the markets, you would look at this and be like, wow, this sounds pretty bad. But here are the last times the government shut down. So back in 18, December 21st to January 25th of 19, guess what? The market was up 10.4% in 22 days. The one before that, which I don't remember, we shut down for 2 days. We're up 81 basis points. Back in 2013, I don't remember that one either, although I kind of think I do. We shut down for 14 days. We're up 3.17%. Back in 95, 96, we were shut down and we were rallied during those too. So I think it's just the market just knows that this is just nonsense and it's going to end. So I don't think it's an issue. I mean, I suppose if it goes on for a long time, it could be if like air traffic controllers and TSA people stop coming to work, but I don't think it's really anything to worry about. All that being said, though, I do think that the market is getting to a point now where we should start kind of thinking about what to do for a correction. And you don't need to put your head in the sand if you're a long only investor. There are inverse ETFs out there that you can buy. In other words, if the market goes down, there are ETF buy that will go up. So the bullish sentiment is starting to get pretty giddy. This American Association of Individual Investors. They asked their members, are you bullish, bearish, or neutral? The idea here is you look for extremes. Like back in April, people were extremely bearish. This is the historical norm is 31%. 62% of people were bearish. This is actually a good sign for the market. I know it sounds kind of weird, but if the vast majority of people are bearish, they sell all their stocks. Eventually, the market runs out of sellers. Everyone who wants to sell has done so. And the only way it can go is up. The only way a market with no sellers can only go up. Now, we're probably starting to get close to the opposite where we get extreme bullishness. Now, mirror image, right? If people are extremely bullish, what do? They invest all their funds. And when the market runs out of buyers, all it can do is go down. So we're starting to get there. I would say like 50%, maybe 55% is extreme bullishness. We're at 46%. Now, if we go through the markets, the only two sectors, there are 11 sectors in the market. The only two that look good to me right now are tech and utilities. And believe it or not, utilities is like a big data AI play because people are talking about the energy it's going to need and so forth. So here's our tech sector. What I'm doing here is looking at the ETF that tracks the tech sector, XLK. And then we can go look at the utility sector. And we can see this is doing really well as well.
Yeah.
Now, some of the other sectors, they do not look as good. They actually look pretty weak. Here's our financials, right? This looks kind of weak. Stalled at this resistance. Now we seem to be trending lower. Communication services. This looks pretty weak. I mean, you don't need to be a former hedge fund trader to see that. This thing looks looks like it's and notice how the selling seems to be accelerating over the last couple of days. Consumer discretionary. We couldn't get through this resistance up here, and this is trending lower. Healthcare looks pretty neutral, right? So every sector looks either neutral or bearish, other than tech and utilities. And I also think that this could kind of be like a flight to safety type thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are selling consumer discretionary stocks and thinking like, what's safe? Oh, gold and Nvidia, right? So
I mean, it's funny, but like, yes, that's like actually it appears what people are thinking.
now I remember at the end of 21 when we were at the top of the market right before we had the big sell off in early 22 with the inflation and so forth. And it was kind of a similar thing. Like a lot of different parts of the market started to go down and money was just kind of flowing into the Mag 7 stocks. And I think that was kind of a flight to safety. And I think something similar is going on now. So I'm not saying like, the market's going to crash and move
Mhm.
to the wilderness and join a militia or anything like that. But, markets go down too. And I think we're probably just getting to the point where we should start thinking about what to do for a potential correction, right? If you have things you want to trim and maybe they're overbought, maybe you start kind of, selling them a little bit or so forth. Again, you can think about inverse ETFs if you're not an option trader.
So real quick, Mark, it's important that you said that. First of all, we just talked about this yesterday. 13 was saying that one of the things he's doing right now is trimming those winners and raising cash. He's doing literally exactly what you just said. And one of the other things that I was trying to do to maybe kind of position or hedge myself here, I actually started to scale into the Palantir inverse ETF. It's
Really?
just
Oh,
kind of
wow.
hedge against some of the technology. So interesting that you're bringing that up here. It looks like we were on the same page.
Indeed. All right, let's take a look at Palantir. So here we have this resistance up around, let's call it 188, 189. And we could see there was resistance back in August. And then when we got up there, whatever day this was, Thursday the 2nd, really close, right? Now, there's a reason why there tends to be resistance at former resistance levels. There's an old Wall Street saying, sell at former peaks. And it's actually based on logic because when you get to a former peak, sometimes you hit resistance, and it's because people that bought back here regret doing so because it's like as soon as they're done buying, the thing just like collapsed. And a bunch of them tell themselves, gee, if I can ever get out of this thing at break even, I'm going to. So when it returns to that price, remorseful buyers from here selling over here created resistance. Now, when we had this big sell off the other day, a lot of people I talked to got stopped out because they had their stops too high and they were just thinking about percentages and not levels. But
Mhm.
the reason why we found a bottom here is because it was resistance here. For whatever reason, and I still can't figure it out, even though I've been doing this for 30 years, some price levels are more important than others. So people sold here, and when the thing takes off, they're like, oh, damn, why the hell did I sell? I made a mistake. I'm going to buy my shares back if I can ever get them for the same price I sold them at. So when Palantir drops back to the level that was resistance, remorseful sellers placing buy orders made what was resistance convert into support. And if you look at this really close, the bottom of the wick, I mean, we're literally talking about like within $1 of $171 stock that on average trades 56 million shares a day. So it's pretty amazing the precision there. Now, why is there resistance here? Well, because it was support back here. This is a buyer's remorse manifested in a different way. People buy here and they think they made the great decision. But when the stock dropped, a lot of them are like, wow, I made a mistake. If I can ever get out of this at break even, I'm going to. So it gets back up to the level that was support. Remorseful buyers placing sell orders can make support turn into resistance. So I equate knowing where these important price levels are to like having like a map of the market. If you
Mhm.
were in a town that you had never been in before, you didn't have a map or you didn't have a GPS, you wouldn't know what to do or where to go. And in my opinion, that's like if you're a trader and you don't know where the levels are, it's kind of the same thing, right? You want to know where to go. Oh, that actually brings up something kind of interesting. I met this guy the other night who is an astronomer, and he was
Ooh.
telling me how missiles, I never knew this, right? Missiles like the ICBMs or whatever, they navigate based on the stars because GPS is easily jammable. So somehow, I don't know, like the old mariners used to do in the on the old boats like in Columbus's day or whatever. They navigate by the stars.
It's
So
it's it's basically like that's the old sextant technology. They probably have an electronic or modern one that they use. They probably also use GPS and have a redundancy built in for the targeting systems. And remember, some
yeah,
of those ICBMs too, they actually go into low Earth orbit and then fall back to its target on Earth.
yeah. Well, they're opening up this new observatory here in my town, so I'm
Oh man, I
looking
look,
forward to
I
going.
am I am a science and astronomy nerd. I would love that stuff. Love
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah. Oh, awesome, man. Well, when I have you out one day, we'll
Yeah,
go there
we got
when
to
we're
do
done
that.
playing
I
golf.
actually meant to get out there this summer, and it just got away from me. But Mark, I promise we will absolutely do that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So anyway, does anyone have any questions
Yeah,
or
we have a ticker that someone wants to see. ARBE.
ARB? the RB Robotics.
Yes, we're actually seeing some of these robot stocks move. I know this is kind of a lower priced one. Yesterday we had Serve had a PR with DoorDash where they're, I guess, working together. I guess it's dubious on how much they're actually working together, but it set the stock going. And some of the other robotic stocks are working too. This one looks like maybe we're trying to make it up to 3.
Yeah, here's what I would be looking at. Yeah, I think if we keep going higher, my guess is that there's a good chance we get some resistance up here. And again, it's like we just talked about. There's people that bought back here that are watching this being like, wow, I've held on to this thing underwater since February. Can I finally get out of it at break
Yeah.
even? And then I think if we go lower, you kind of should look for some support around there. But I don't know. I think this looks kind of, even though yesterday's action was kind of weak. See, this is the open.
Well,
And
see,
this is
here's the
the
thing. I
close.
think there's some support there at 250. Can you back out a little bit because there was a low from that? Yeah, right there. See that low from on the left side of the chart there? The impulse move up, then the pullback. Yeah, right where you got it there. Right where you got it. The lows of those candles. It almost looks like it lines up pretty good. Okay, so it's off by 13, 15 cents, but we're in the same ballpark there.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're looking at things kind of in the short term, if you're a day trader or shorter term trader, it's important to think about the prior few days opens and closes because they tend to be the most important prices. Now, yesterday, this stock opened up here and it closed down there, right? But what's the important thing is that the closing price was higher than the prior day's opening price. So we're still in an uptrend, even though this looked kind of negative, or yesterday's actual kind of
Mhm.
negative. But we're still in an uptrend. Now, let's just say that we had closed below yesterday's open. That would make me think that the trend is changing. But right now, I think, and it looks like we're up a little bit this morning. We're probably going to open right around there. So yeah, I think that one looks pretty good here.
Okay, and then really quickly, since we're just happen to be talking about robotics here, and I mentioned one of the other charts, let's take a look at RR. Jay Rice mentioning here that Serve, which is another one of the robotic stocks that I mentioned that had that news with DoorDash yesterday, they did an offering. And I'll be honest with you, so real quick on that, Jay, the offering, this makes a lot of sense to me. And this is also a discussion that we've had in Happy Hour. These companies should be floating paper whenever they trade higher, especially in the environment that we're in now. And that's exactly what Serve is doing here. We should be expecting this out of some of these stocks. Now, Mark, aside, what do you see here in the RR chart? This thing's been on a great run recently.
Yeah, well, I don't know. This one might be turning over here a little bit, because kind of what we were just talking about. Here was our closing price, so we're really kind of, I think, right at short-term support here. We're literally just sitting right on it. I mean, we could call it 6.5, or let's just call it 6.5.
I would do the same thing.
And to all you youngsters out there, a half is 50 cents. So 6.5 means 6.50.
I don't even think about it, Mark. Sometimes I report prices as like, something, something, something in a quarter or 3/4. I don't even think about it because when I first started looking in the paper at stocks, it was still the fractions. It wasn't decimal yet when I was a little kid. And I would listen to Paul Harvey all the time on the radio, and he would give these updates with quarter, half, and 3/4. And I just, without thinking, I just adopted that. Like I said, for all you young folks, oh, that's good.
I remember when the market shifted from fractions to decimals, and it was a really interesting thing because we always talk about investment psychology and trading psychology, but I saw a lot of examples of it then. Now, let's just say you went to buy a stock and you thought it was at $10 and you wanted to buy it, but the offer price was say 10 and an eighth. People would pay like, all right, well, that's only up one increment. It's only up 1/8, whatever. I'll pay 10 and an eighth. An eighth is 12.5 cents. When we went to decimals, it was like the stock is at 10 and the offer is 10.03. And people were like, I'm not going to pay 10.03 because I think they're just thinking 3 units versus 1 unit. Even though an eighth is 12 cents, 12.5 cents, it's only 1 unit. But 3 cents is 3 units. And it was really crazy. I remember being very like, wow, this is so weird. Like people didn't mind paying up an eighth or a quarter, but now they care about paying up 4 or 5 cents.
It's funny how that works. And you talk all the time about market psychology. There's a psychological aspect going on with that example as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. It just shows you. A lot of people think that the market is and trading is like a big chess game or a math puzzle, and it's really not, because chess and math are logical. The pieces always move the same way. The rook always moves the same way. The knight always moves the same way. The market is a collection of individuals, people, and people are irrational. So we got to remember
Indeed.
that trading is more about understanding psychology than it is about understanding math or trying to come up with some great holy grail system that always works. So, I mean, we could just look at this. Yeah, I don't know this company, but whatever day this was, September 22nd, people were really aggressively buying this thing, right? Just a day later, the whole tone of the market changed, and now people are really aggressively selling it. So if whatever drove the market up here was justified, then why did it come back down in just 2 days? And if whatever sold off here, or whatever the reason for selling off here was justified, why did the market get back to those levels like a week later? And the answer is the only thing that's changed is investors' perceptions and trader perceptions and psychology.
Okay.
But anyway, I would watch the 650 level here.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense there. Okay, good stuff. Mark, do you have time for more? I mean, we've got a couple of more minutes here.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Are there any stocks that you folks want to take a look at? Born to be Free, who was in your trading school here, I think wants to take a look at Google. So maybe we'll start with that. GOOG was the one he specified. I don't know if it's important for the tech analysis here, but
I usually look at the other one, the one with the L. But yeah, no, it's pretty similar here. Now this is kind of interesting too, because this is sitting right on an important price level here, say like 240. And if we go and look at the communication services sector, which is, we saw that sector before is trending lower, right? About 40% of the sector is Facebook and Google. So if Google starts to break this support, that's really going to start to accelerate the selling in the sector here. And let's just see what Facebook looks like. All right, so now if Facebook kind of reverses, this is pretty much the only thing that's keeping this sector from really, just going into a bigger, faster sell-off. So if this reverses, if Google breaks that support, that's going to put pressure on this, because these stocks don't trade in isolation. A lot of what happens with a particular stock is because of what goes on in the sector. So if you're looking at buying or trading certain stocks, you should have an idea of what's going on in the sector. So you can look at some of the other things in this. And if that Facebook starts to reverse, we got things like this right here could be a potential trading idea, like I've been looking at. So this is T-Mobile. We've gotten down to support, right? Here's an example of support at a former support level, and we're oversold. Now, if it's kind of weird but you have to understand how like different things affect each other. So if Facebook keeps moving higher and Google holds that support and it reverses, then this is probably going to go higher too. And this would be a potential trading idea over here. And I haven't looked at Verizon, which I've had Verizon for years, and I'm continuously behind on my bill by 1 month, because whenever I call up to pay my bill, it only lets me pay the current month. I can't pay last month. So every month I get texts from Verizon, we're about to shut your phone service off, blah, 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 blah. But all that being said, this looks pretty interesting here too.
Verizon, as far as the stock goes, this thing used to be such a good dividend payer. This was an add-on weakness anytime that this thing sold off here, just for long-term trading. It also is worth noting that there's a lot of scam texts being sent out there saying that we're going to cancel your service when we're not actually going to do that. So maybe, double check, don't click any strange links, or don't click any of the text stuff out there. That stuff's pretty bad. Okay, I got another one for you here, IONQ. And the reason that I'm bringing this up, they had news of an offering, which is obviously impacting the price. But we have talked ad nauseum about a lot of these quantum names being ripe for shorts because they've run too much. They have no revenue. They're bleeding money like crazy. So what do we see here in the chart? And let's keep in mind here that IONQ here, 75 in the pre-market as it announces its offering.
Yeah, I mean, when stocks are up and they do an offering, a lot of times the market interprets that as a good thing. The stock has been trending higher. If a stock has been trending lower and they do an offering, sometimes the market thinks about that as like, gee, this is, they're in panic mode over here. So I would expect that the offering will be, looks like we're trading down a little bit this morning.
Yeah.
Um, because sometimes people think like, oh, well, there's going to be a new offering. It's going to dilute the stock and so forth and so on. But I don't think it's anything really kind of significant. And, from a short term point of view, you got this pretty clear level down here for support, like around say 74.40. So I think if you're long the stock, and as long as it's above there, you're okay. If this support starts to break, then I think you got to start to think like maybe about selling it, or if you have an eye on it, where would you buy it? I mean, down here around 61. I mean, I know that seems like a far away from where we are now, but the way some of these stocks are, this thing could get there in a matter of a couple of days if this support breaks.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Let's see. We got some time left here. I saw a couple of other stocks here, but I see two good ones that I really want to ask you about. Jan, or I suppose Jan, if you've seen that commercial, LOL. TLT. Can we take a look at the TLT?
Yeah, so TLT is a bond ETF. Now, bonds and interest rates are inverse to each other. So if interest rates keep going down, then this is going to go up. So you can even look at something like this as a play on a potential bad economy. So if the economy goes into recession, and I suppose at some point it will, I mean, eventually it's like death and taxes. Eventually there will be another recession. Well, that would really make interest rates go down, and that would make bond prices go up. So right now, this looks kind of neutral to me, but I think that long term, it's probably a good idea to have a little bit of exposure here in the bond market because interest rates seem to be going down. There's going to be two more Fed cuts, at least according to the futures markets, or I should say, two more rate cuts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what this is. And there are leveraged ETFs that you can play if you think this is going to go up. You can go look in some of them, like the Direxon ETFs. There's leveraged bond ETFs, so they'll go up more than this will go up. So that's something you can look at.
Yeah, it's funny too because I did a presentation with Anne Marie all the way back in May, and we were looking at the TLT chart, and it was like this to me. It seems like long TLT, and then just sell upside calls against it. It really could not get above its 200-day. It was using that as very, very clear resistance the entire time. And my thought here was, okay, well, if you own the equity, just sell upside calls against it. If you get called away, you do it with your stock, keep the premium. And if this thing continues to get rejected by its 200 and roll back down to this 80 handle, which we still find ourselves in October, you're going to be able to collect all of this premium every single month that you do this trade. This thing has worked out great. I agree with you. I think it probably is a good idea to have some exposure here, although I don't have any myself. So
if you look at interest rates, you see the same stuff that we see in any chart. Like here we have our descending triangle, right? Here we have our situation. This is 10-year yields, TNX index. Support becomes resistance. And you start thinking like, well, these are interest rates. How can this be affected by supply and demand of the same things that happen in the bond market? I mean, sorry, in the stock market. And the answer is that this is just the inverse of what the bond is. So the interest rates are determined by what the bond does, and the people that are trading the bonds feel the same emotions that people are trading cryptos or stocks or commodities. So that's why we see the same patterns and the same things. And it's really kind of amazing if you think about how big the bond market is. It's way bigger than the stock market.
yeah.
And you still get these precision levels. It's really kind of amazing. So this is 4.2%. So like right down there. But anyway, yeah, I think
Okay.
it's a good idea to not just think about stocks, but to think about bonds as well, especially if you're more conservative.
Yeah, I'm within. I know we're out of time here, but just one quick question here from Cam. Can you ask Mark about how to properly get out of big positions for upcoming market corrections? Does he hold liquid or allocate?
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of people, I see, I have a different kind of a view on this in a lot of ways. Like if something gets to my price target, I'm just going to sell it. I don't, sell half or sell a third. I mean, I know some people do, but I think that you kind of just need to develop a strategy and deploy it. Whether you're trading breakouts or crossovers or whatever, and then just kind of stick to your strategy and kind of try to shut out all the noise of whether there's going to be a correction or not. I mean, a lot of people at the end of August were talking about this imminent correction in September because historically September is a weak month. And what happened? The market just had a phenomenal month in September. So I think you got to just kind of stick to your strategy and let the market tell you what to do, and try to shut out all the noise of the all the whatever, all the gurus out there, and just kind of ignore them and just let the market tell you what to do, because the market's the only thing that's always right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Okay, thank you, Mark. Really good stuff, Mark. Remember, no session next week unless you're available after 9. We can bring you on and for a hot minute if you're available. Just let me know. But I have an interview in this slot next week, and then we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming.
Well, I don't know. A hot minute sounds pretty interesting, but
I'm telling you, man, we make things interesting around here, Mark. This is what we do. This is what we do.
All right. I'll catch up with you next week.
All right, sounds good. Mark Petrino, everybody, really good stuff. Be sure to check out his Substack. Also, he does have content in Edge. So, Mark Petrino, real good stuff, real good educator, real good teacher, and been an expert for a long time, been doing this for a long time. We move from one expert to another. We go from Mark to 13. Let's bring him on. 13, good morning. Happy Friday. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good morning so far. Looking forward to what we got to trade here today. How's your morning? How's everybody's morning in chat?
Oh, dude, it is awesome.
How are your parlays?
Dude, first of all, number of things there. So first of all, Cubs won yesterday, 2-2. Brewers going back to Milwaukee. And I gave out a stat earlier that teams that started 0-2 and got it back to 2-2 in a 5-game series are 10-7. In that deciding game, so that bodes well. Also hit 2 bets last night. That one I gave out on happy hour that Gary asked about, that hit 9-bagger. Boom. Also hit an anytime touchdown. And one more thing here. We have, I know we talked about bringing Dan on today for a little bit of like a bet portion near the end. Unfortunately, Dan's tied up. But because I've teased this twice now and have not been able to secure Dan, I said there's no way I can let the group down. So I actually have bets from myself and from Dan that I'm going to give away here today. So if you are interested in sports bets later on, about 5 to 10 minutes before we end the show and move to Anne-Marie, I will go ahead and throw some of those up there. So despite us not getting Dan here today, we're still going to have some more bets to give away. 13, before we get to all that, we got a ton of market stuff to do. Let me get the charts up here. We did have a lot of movers here today. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I want to kind of get these movers out of the way just because it seems like this list is shuffling around a little bit. So I'm not sure which one's going to be great today. So let's just start there and talk about what's already at the top here, what's the biggest movers.
Okay, will do. Johnny here says, huge thanks to Mark. Keep coming back with your great experience and insight. Indeed, Johnny, he will. And you know what? I'm a big fan of positivity and compliments and all of that stuff that makes the world a better place. I will share your comment directly with Mark right now. I'm sure he'll be happy to see that there. Okay. All right, you want to do GWH first here?
Sure.
All right, GWH, you can see we popped in the after hours and then ripped here in the pre-market, almost getting up towards 5 there. ESS Tech shares are trading higher after the company announced an agreement with Salt River Project to add 5 megawatt, 50 megawatt hour battery system to the grid in Florence, Arizona. That should help. Pretty good news here, it looks like, and pretty good action here. Stock's up 121%. You have 8.36% of the float shorted here with 3.24 days to cover, and that comes on an average 100-day volume of just under 500,000 at 475. Today, we've traded 125 million shares. Yikes. And the float here on this one, 12.6. So 13, what are you thinking here on ticker GWH?
Well, this is kind of going into that theme we've been discussing in Happy Hour about, we need to kind of put together a list, a watch list, but I'm sure this will end up showing up on it because batteries have been some of the talk that we've been circulating. and not just batteries for like EVs, but also drones and large data centers. And some of those large data center batteries, we were kind of looking at the vanadium space, but this is a company that uses iron flow chemistry, so it doesn't need some critical minerals, we'll just call them, in order for it to work. It's got a lot of it just uses some widely available materials. Unfortunately, we are looking at a company here that does need cash, and that is going to be some of the things that you've already talked about earlier this morning. How some of these companies they need to be raising capital at this time, and this is one that could certainly do it. They don't have a whole lot of cash on their balance sheet. They lose more per quarter than they've got right now. So I would be anticipating a capital raise from this one very soon, maybe as early as today.
Are we going to make another clip of 13 predicting the future correctly again, like we did the last time that this happened?
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But
Fair enough.
It's it may not happen, but it just looking at the way that their cash is and how they operate, it seems like it's going to be something that they end up doing soon. So I would not leave it off the radar. Now, as far as where this ends up going, we've already seen this run up to 489 this morning, and the news came yesterday. So we might have seen a lot of the impulse move. I'm not 100% sure about that. This depends on what we end up getting here in the regular session, because we are trading beneath VWAP, but we haven't completely sold off yet, like some of the other names we'll get to. We're still a good ways away from the 65 EMA, and I think as long as we hold this area above 360 or so, 370, we want to see this move back up through the VWAP, and we can continue higher, possibly into the fives. But for now, need to see that support kick in. If we start to lose that level, there's support down at 330 and the 65 EMA. But I haven't seen signs of this turning around yet, so I think I just will wait and see what happens towards the open, which we have in about 23 minutes.
Okay, Tara here is saying, so if they do put an offering in, what happens then? Well, Tara, we expect that the price, so it depends on what the offering price is, but we expect then that what would happen here is that it would be somewhere, much lower than where the price currently is, and we would expect a sell-off. The one caveat that I will say is that some of these companies that seem to actually be doing good stuff, when they have an offering, the stock goes down, but the offering ends up getting bought. And so what 13 is saying here is just be prepared for a sudden down move, and it might take place in an after-hour session where you're not at the computer. So his warning there about this needing it a good one. 13, before we move on to the next stock, I just want to address one of our Twitch comments here. We got called out for not interacting with the Twitch crowd the other day. I believe it was this person. We interact with everybody around here, so that was an incorrect call out, by the way. But today you do have something here. The Japanese situation just got interesting. I would like to know a little bit more detail about what specifically you're referring to. They just elected a new person over there. Were you trying to get in, 13?
No, I think because I did catch some of that. I know I'm going to be really bad at pronouncing the names.
Me too. I went over it because I don't even want to disrespect her.
Right, but apparently there's a the ruling coalition party, Japan. There's now a bid for the premier leadership there, or premiership there. So there's that, and then there's also a rumor circulating that President Xi Jinping from China had a stroke prior to the fourth plenum. But you got to take that with a large grain of salt, because that seems to happen. That news seems to come out like almost every time that there's a plenum. So I don't know how true the Xi news is, but that news over in Japan, that's what's going on over there. It's Komiedo, I believe, is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
That's been the coalition partner of the LDP, that which is the ruling coalition over there for more than 25 years. So it seems like it's a big move. I don't know what the repercussions are going to be of that, but that's I think the news he's referring to.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm not sure either. It's definitely something that we're going to watch. This is something that we actually have an international expert in Happy Hour that we lean on quite frequently for stuff about this. So if I get anything that's tradable going forward, or anything that might actually help you out here, I'll be sure to let you know. But just know, as Lion said earlier, we see everything, folks. We see everything. We can't possibly interact with everything, but we do see everything. And it's always nice to get proof from the community here. When I was on Twitch, Ryan consistently interacted with me. Indeed, anything that will make this show better, more informative, or help people make money, doesn't matter where you come from, we are absolutely going to cover that as best we can. Okay, sorry about the sidetrack there, 13. Next one here, I've got SGBX. This is Safe and Green Holdings, and it's interesting because we also have another one here that's 1 and 1 Green Tech. So similar, but kind of. Anyway, SGBX here. This was news reported yesterday morning that they regained NASDAQ compliance. For whatever reason, it popped a little bit in the after hours and then ran on much higher volume here today. Looks like our high print was about 980. We've backed off quite a bit of that, almost 50% of that. We're actually below the VWAP here. I'd really like to see this thing really hold 550. Not sure if it's going to do that, but if we can hold 550, maybe we can make another run back towards that VWAP that we're currently under. Quick look at the short interest on this one. 24.91% of the float is shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 557,000. Today we've traded 32 million. Float on this micro float, 13 micro float, 481,000 shares. So what do you see going on here?
Regain NASDAQ compliance is the only thing that I see that is causing this to move. This also has 32% of the float shorted, but only 2 days to cover. So could see some squeezing here happen as well. But the company does need cash. Even though they've regained NASDAQ compliance, they still need capital. So here we go. This could be another one that ends up raising capital maybe as early as today. Now, aside from that, I do not like the way this chart looks. It looks like we're going to continue lower. Yeah. I think the 200 EMA, which I have down at 480, is going to be another spot where we're going to see some support. But it looks like we might even get a little bit of support slightly earlier than that. Between 490 and 5. We're already heading lower right now. So there we go. Now, if this finds some support down at the 200 EMA or maybe just a little bit beneath it, we're going to want to see some sideways price action, have it gain its footing, and then maybe this will provide some trades to the upside, and we can draw on these levels that we have here from this pre-market price action as to where that might go. But right now, losing a pretty big level that if this does come back later today, this level that it just lost is going to be resistance.
Okay. Real good breakdown there. Jonathan here. Ryan, FINRA short data was released yesterday night. Jonathan, I can confirm that you are absolutely correct as you normally are. And that FINRA update. So we have a fresh print here for short data in our short interest tab here in Pro. So all of these short values that were given me, as Jonathan is mentioning, there was a new data released, and we have that updated here in Pro. Okay, next one is going to be SLE, and it looks like this is moving right now. I didn't have any notes on this today, so we're going to be dissecting this one here together. Super League. Oh, wow. Here we go again. Super League announces exclusive partnerships with ES3 to deliver branded gamified content experiences across connected TV and Play TV platforms. Sorry, I'll do a better job taking a breath there. I want to actually read through this because sometimes these PRs are very much like this, where they sound great, but they're still kind of vague. CTV ad spend is projected to grow from $33 billion in 2025 to $47 billion in 2028 and surpass traditional TV advertising for the first time, according to eMarket. So it should be pretty good for Super League here. CTV devices and platforms. Yeah, there's just going to be more advertising, more eyeballs on this. Okay, so it seems like this is good. Stocks up 55.9% here. The one thing that I will say from actually trading this over the course of my career, all the way back to when this was ticker SLGG, the stock loves to pop and drop. So what I will say here, I don't know what's going to happen today, but what I will say here is that if you get gains in a short-term trade on this, do not be afraid to take them. If you're absolutely terrified that the stock is going to double after you sell it, sell partial, but be sure to book some of those gains. Literally, as I'm talking, we are starting to pull off the $6 high now. So I've seen this before. We've traded this before. Know how the stock behaves. Quick look at the short interest, which is updated, Jonathan. 7.47% of the float shorted. This is actually a substantial tick down from the prior read there. So that might be notable. 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.34 million. Today we've traded 10.7 million. Float here 1.36 million. So 13, I know you probably didn't have time to prepare for this one because it just started moving, but any thoughts if you have them?
Well, that's okay because we've traded this before. We actually traded this last month, and I still have my levels from the last time we traded it. Maybe it wasn't last month, maybe it was back in May, but either way, we've traded this year previously, and I still
Yep.
have my levels. So right now, the one I'm keeping an eye on that we're the closest to is going to be, I have it at 715. That's going to be the next resistance I have. Maybe you have some at the $7 even as a psych level. But that's going to be the next resistance. Now we are coming down here, and we're losing the VWAP in the process right now. So we'll have to wait and see what how this candle ends up shaping up. We've got about 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in it. But this price action we've just got out of this impulse move has already given us a clear indication that 6 is going to be tough to get through. So if we don't revisit that until the regular session, going to want to see a lot of volume up at that 6 area to push us up through that resistance to take us up over 7.
Okay. Super Sam saying SLE is a chat pump that was alerted at 5:15. Ken is saying Tim Sykes is pumping that. So okay, so it looks like there's something else going on here. Good to know. Again, if you trade this one, do not be afraid to take gains. Jay Rice also telling us that SLE did a 1 for 40 reverse in June. Feels like a bit of a squeeze there. We'll see. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing there. We shall see. Okay.
Yeah, probably too junky for me, but just I'll keep it on the radar.
Yeah, we'll keep all of these on the radar. Okay, the next one here is going to be ticker YDDL, and this was an IPO yesterday, 1-in-1 green techs, and this just opened for trade yesterday. It looks like all that's going on here is post IPO shenanigans. Let me see. Yeah, the PR here about the IPO. The stats about the IPO, it was open for trade at 575. It priced at 5, so it opened above the price range. 2 million shares was an IPO offering there. So I don't have any fresh news on this, but it did end up going a little bit wild in the after hours. Today, it's come back down to earth, but it's still holding higher by about 47%. So there might be some folks in this one. The one thing I will say about this, I don't know who was trading this in the after hours, but I would be entirely unshocked if there were some bags still in this stock from some of that after hours trading that happened yesterday. And just kind of looking at the chart where this thing reversed 17, 23, 23 and a half, man, I mean, I would be careful with this one. This is another one here without knowing much about it. We got asked about an IPO yesterday, the TTRX or whatever one that was. And you had said, 13, we don't have a lot of price history on this, so be careful. Same deal here. So if you do end up trading this today, we have not very much info to lean on. So just be quick on your trigger finger, I would say. Yeah, go ahead.
There's also LFS that is IPOing today as well. So there's a couple of
yesterday. LFS IPO'd yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. So 2.
But it's continuing today, just like this last one. You're absolutely correct.
So LFS, YDDL, 2 recent IPOs that if that's your game, have fun playing. But 2 things that I probably won't be trading much today at all.
Yeah. Okay. But there you go. That's what's going on here with those. 13, did you have anything else on your list here?
You're at one there. It had no news. It just did a reverse split. That's another one that could raise capital.
This YHGJ.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for anyone that takes note of these statistics, 4.79% of the float shorted on this one with 1.64 days to cover. Average volume, a paltry 30K. It's done 1.6 million today, and the float is 1.2. Other things to mention here, Orbs. This is the previous Octo stock. This is the one, the retinal scanner that Dan Ives is involved in. 8 co-holding shares are trading higher after the company announced the launch of a new pilot program focused on advancing AI authentication for the enterprise. We talked about authentication, digital verification as being a gigantic theme.
Yep.
That's going to be huge going forward here. IDAI is kind of our play in that. We're already along that. What's that?
Verify Me. Yeah.
Verify Me is another one. Thank you.
Yep.
It looks like Orbs kind of in that as well. Orbs had a pretty nasty sell-off yesterday. Nice little move back. We'll see if this gets rolling here. Did you have any levels or anything on this one?
On Orbs, let's see here. I'll just take a look at what's going on in the pre-market. We just had okay. So the news must have come earlier in the morning because it had a big move up to 14 and hasn't come back down since. Or haven't come back up there since, even though we've tried. The VWAP's currently suppressing its altitude. So once we get over VWAP, we might be able to get back up towards that 14 level. So I think that's would I be looking at here? Just not really sure. I'd like the chart. It still looks like it could roll over here. So I'll put it to you this way. If we get back above VWAP and we can hold above it and start trading higher, then I think we're okay. But if we lose the 65 EMA, I think I'd be a little bit concerned about going on to lose the 200 afterwards and maybe even falling beneath 10. So that's just something I'd be watching for, because right now it's in a spot where I'm not sure about whether we're going to go higher or lower, but it looks like it wants to try and get over VWAP. So that's why I'm just waiting to see what we end up getting here closer to the open.
Okay, good stuff. We already talked a little bit about APLD, WAI. That's that Top King China pump scam thing. We talked about that. Gorv had some news here today. This popped and dropped on the Gorv news, but it does look like this came out here this morning. Lazy Day Holdings finalizes over $64.9 million asset sale to Campers Inn affiliates, covering RV dealerships, inventory, and real estate. So that's what's going on here with Gorv. That's moving a little bit. But otherwise, that's about all I got here from the movers. Fatty Liver King again saying, do we see gold ticking further given the fact that the U.S. GDP is being propped up by AI capex, and the only way to keep the wagon rolling is to continue pumping liquidity into the market? Sounds like you have a very specific thesis that you're trying to mention there as fact. What the one thing I will say here is I'm pretty sure that Lion Atlas has exactly the same opinion, to be quite honest with you. I am pretty sure that is exactly how Lion feels on that one. So, okay.
Yeah, I still think gold could see 5,000.
Yeah. And someone had a 6,000 call, I feel. Who was that?
That might, I think we could see 6,000, but I don't know about this year. I think next year.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see where gold goes. But yeah, that gets talked about quite a bit. Okay. 13, is there anything else that you want to do here? Anything that you want to discuss?
Oh, we're getting a lot of talk about the GSRT conversion to NKLR.
Okay.
Did look at that a little bit more because I was, wanted to see if there was going to be any redemption offers.
So here we go. So 13, I'm going to leave this on the screen.
Okay.
I'm going to utilize this time to go to the washroom prior to the open so that I don't have to do it. I'll be right back, buddy.
Okay. Because what happens with SPACs is that sometimes they'll build in these off ramps for investors to get out of. So that's what I was concerned, and that's what Jay and I were talking about earlier this week. And he was telling me that there's no more redemption offers in this, and that's true. But the thing that I was looking for was to see if there was any other off ramps, because this could still de-SPAC. And one of the things that I came across was the lockup. And the lockup was a little bit weird because it's basically saying that there's going to be a 120-day lockup period before they report earnings, and then a certain portion of the shares will be available to trade on the open market. Or if the share prices hit 12, 14, 16, and 18, then 80 million of the shares that of the investors from GSRT will be able to sell, because that lockup period will be over. So that could create some downward pressure, but I don't know if it's going to be enough downward pressure to completely rock the stock. But if it does cause a de-SPAC and it creates some liquidity issue, then I think that could just be an opportunity, because this is still a really hot theme, and we could see a lot of the some capital from the other nuclear names that have run, like Oklo, SMR, maybe even LEU. We could see some of that money move over towards NKLR, but I don't know if it's going to happen right away, or if there's going to be we're going to get some of that de-SPACing happen, and then that'll be the time to load up. But I think that there's still a chance that this may see some downward pressure as a result of that off ramp that's built into the lockup period clauses. So just something to put out there. But eventually, I think this could still be a really good name, and I still think that some of that liquidity that's in the other nuclear names could make its way over to this one.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you, 13. That is awesome.
Oh, there's also another one, HOND, and I know we've talked about it too, but that's another one.
Didn't we trade this one day?
Maybe we might have, but that's another one that is going to be in the nuclear space and is also interesting. But this one doesn't vote until October 20th. So we have some time before they do complete their merger. So I haven't looked into this one as much. So I don't know, like I said, if there's any other off ramps for investors. but this is the next one that I think is going to be hot after NKLR.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. 5 minutes. Anything you want to take a look at?
And
or the chat.
There is Joseph or Joseph mentioning Rocket Lab at 70. That's awesome. I'm really happy to see Rocket Lab continuing to climb, but really need to have that neutron rocket be successful in their tests. That's the I think that's the company's growth going forward from here is whether or not they can get that going. And it seems like they're on track, but I need to look a little bit more and come back to you later on when I think they're going to be doing that test, because they're supposed to be doing another test this year, I thought.
Okay.
For their neutron star or the neutron rocket. Anyway,
real quick, Smoke Tuna saying Caba setup. All he said is Caba setup. Tuna, give us a little bit more on what is set up here for the group. It does look like this is trying to maybe retake yesterday's intraday highs, and we're actually only 5 cents above the VWAP. So maybe that's what you meant. But if you could add a little bit more context to this, I drew a trend line here just because the trend lines have been working for us. So we'll see what ends up happening here. And the other one that Tuna is mentioning ahead of the open here is ABOS. Again, same deal here. I would want to know what exactly is the setup. This actually looks like extremely low volume.
2 years line? That seems a lot longer than it should. I think it could happen next year, to be honest. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, we'll see. That whole debt thing, I think they are actively working on that, and I think that they're trying to invoke some creative solutions, taking stakes in company, tariffs, the whole 9 yards. I don't know how it's going to work out. But I do feel at least they're trying to address that for the first time in my lifetime.
I don't think you'll have to, take this with a grain of salt, but I thought I heard something about how Trump's going to be speaking on our U.S. agricultural industry, or there's some kind of bailout in the works, and I think they're using tariff dollars for that. This is I don't know how true this is, but it's something I caught reading. So just thought I'd share that. I think they're looking at what's going on here. Apple. Sorry, I'm getting we're getting a mention here from Tenzin about
Tenzin's having a little bit of a freak out here. Okay,
sorry, we'll get it.
Little bit of a freak out. He said, "Look, JK." So Apple's trading up a little bit here. I don't know if this is.
I don't know about that. It's like $2.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if we. I don't know if it required all of that. Did we have something here that we're missing? Let me see what the Squawk transcription said. I don't have Squawk on, so. Let's see. 10. Yeah. So here, Charles is all over this, but I don't have any news on it. I don't think. No. Shares of Apple getting a pop here. AAPL. That was the Squawk. I don't see any news associated with that. You'll have to let me know what the catalyst for that is, if there is any. But okay. Tenzin, you got us. Please don't spam, though. Love you. All right. What do you want to do now?
Fatty Liver King is wanting to know, how do we feel about potential hard landing scenario? It doesn't seem like that's really there right now. I still think some other things need to happen first. And you did point out the credit spreads aren't flashing red yet. That's true. But, I think that'd be one of the things to keep an eye on. I don't think that we're there quite yet.
Yeah, I don't either. I actually wouldn't. I'm not ruling out a soft landing either.
We open in 1 minute, or actually 20 seconds. So let's turn our attention back to this if we could. Don't want to be talking when the bell goes off. All right, so let's have a good morning, folks. Looking at some of these junky names, maybe some of them won't be junk. We'll have a good morning. We'll have a good end of the week.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Here we go. The casino is open.
SLE, this has a pretty decent setup. We might get some movement to the upside here.
SLE, huh?
Yeah, if we can get some more volume. That it just has a nice bull flag setup going into the open here.
Oh yeah, it does.
So if maybe we get this push up to the 7 to 715 area that I was looking for. Let's see what else here. Orb's not moving. Baru, you guys have been kind of on that. We'll see if this can get back above 56 cents. That seems to have been the ceiling this pre-market. And so far, nothing for SLE here. Just having a hard time.
And in fact, I think if that loses 475, it might be in trouble. It actually looks a little bit wild here out of the open. This might be one of those where it's in your best interest to wait a sec until it flashes a clear signal. What do you think, 13?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think we need to see some movement over the VWAP first. That's the thing that's continuing to push it down. It was pushing it down in the pre-market.
Yeah.
Still trying to keep it down, but if we can close over that, like with this current candle, maybe the next one.
And I've got VWAP at 530. What's yours at?
Oh, mine's at 493.
Okay, so it's right here. So it's basically battling with the VWAP on yours right here. Okay, big sellers there. We'll see if this bottoms out. Let me know if any of you have a buy zone here on SLE.
It's looking pretty weak.
Yeah, I was going to say, there goes 475. Now, we do have this, the 9 EMA right here. Maybe you get a bounce off that 9 EMA, but this has got to happen, I think, pretty soon. Otherwise, you might be in trouble on this one.
We need to see that volume expand. We need that volume expansion.
Well, I see the opening candle here as a green candle that was higher than the pre-market. I don't know if that's enough expansion, but that's... it does look like it is, at least so far on my screen here. I almost wonder if the $5 round level is hitting it.
Here we go. It's trying to get over it. There's a seller in the way at 5.
I was going to say
thing whip around.
That's what I'm saying. That it looks to me like there's somebody there at 5 just pumping more stock into the whatever buyers materialize here. Here's the thing though, if they take that, does this go higher maybe to that 530 area? Well, this thing was above 6 earlier, so
this is trading like if this gets over that seller, that we're going to probably go into an upside haul. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of feel like that. Now, there's no guarantees that happens, so I wouldn't buy it based on that. No. But, now that we're looking at it here, so far it is holding that 9 EMA. Interesting that you have the VWAP right where the battle is going on right now.
I'm looking at some of these other names too. Looks like SGBX is getting a little bit of a lift, making its way towards its VWAP. Well, I have that at 641. I don't know what your VWAP is.
I've got it at 663, so we're still in the same ballpark there.
Yeah, so that certainly trying to come back up here now. I'm not sure that I'm really liking this at the moment. I think I would want to see this above 620, or if it can even get up there. But it seems to be running a little bit out of steam. We'll see.
That's SGBX. Here we go. We got a little bit of a pop right there, and the volume actually looking pretty good on that.
Yeah, I just don't want this to get pulled as soon as we see it get up to like the 620 area.
I feel you on that.
They're trying to lift SLE though. Orbs, this has got some good volume, but it's not really going much of anywhere. It dropped down to 1060 and then reversed. So we can close this candle, I'd say maybe above VWAP, or maybe even better, 11. If we can get above 11, this might have some much better movement to the upside.
USAR, this is actually trying to go a little bit here. Here's that GWH that we talked about. Let's see what this ends up doing. GWH, nothing here yet. SGBX, what do we do there? Ondas continuing to pull back, might lose the 10 handle. I know it's been a rough 2 days here for Ondas, but keep in mind where we came from. I actually have a level on Ondas, yours 3 here. I got 996. I think if it closes above 996, it might be okay. SLE looks like this is in big trouble.
Yeah, it is. Baru. You guys, I know you guys are still on that one. It's starting to move back up after the initial drop out of the gate. We still want to see that move beyond the 56-cent resistance that has been keeping the price down this morning.
And this is the penny stock Baru, right?
Yep. It's just only because we know we didn't look at it, but a lot of people like it, so I thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, yep, here it is. Well, we'll see what ends up happening here. What do we have any setup here or anything that looks good? That SLE one really kind of fizzled here. I guess APLD, maybe if that keeps moving. What else do we have? CRML, I think several people mentioned. This actually looks like this might be popping the pre-market high here.
HOND is having a really good morning.
We just talked about that one, didn't we?
Yes, we did. That's the next one that I was in the nuclear name that is.
Here we go.
Yep. Jam, I talked about Rocket Lab just before we opened. I think I'm glad that it's growing into its valuation, but really need to make sure that they get that neutron rocket going. They're supposed to be testing that later. They're supposed to be testing that this year again, and I delayed it. So as long as there's no more delays, Rocket Lab should do pretty well. I would anticipate some kind of pullback because I think it's been on quite a run. But I still think it's going to be a great company. We just need to make sure that neutron rocket gets going. That's their growth future.
Smoke Tuna said, take a look at Proc. Proc extremely low volume. Smoke Tuna, is there anything that I'm missing here on Proc? I know we've talked about this one at some point in the past, but just wondering if there's anything else going on here. Proc. CCTG is halted.
CCTG.
Yeah, that's a call from here, CCTG. And it looks like the halt delay issue that Pro was experiencing last week and earlier this week has been solved. Here's your CCTG. This is an upside halt here, 188, not in this.
Looking to the left here in some past days, let's see, what was this? Wednesday? That day looks like that's going to provide a little bit of resistance around the 250s. Just based on that consolidation and the resistance it was experiencing that day and yesterday. So 250, 260, that seems to be a bit of a resistance area for CCTG. We'll see what happens after we get out of this halt, though.
Okay, good stuff there. CCCX, this is one, someone mentioned this yesterday, right?
Yeah, we've talked about this one before.
Yeah,
this is the one that's merging with Inflection. It's a quantum computing name.
Right, I think we did talk about that one. I can't remember the specifics of it, but
yeah, that's what that is. I don't know enough about that one. I just know which company they're merging with. I don't know when they're voting or when they plan to merge or anything like that. So I don't have enough info on that. But that's what that company is merging with, is a quantum company called Inflection.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Nope, sorry, missed that. Jonathan Cooper, Bitcoin miners on the move. Bitcoin actually trading up here today. We'll see if Ethereum can catch a bounce after yesterday.
Okay, so let's see here. Some crypto names. Mara, that's up 7.5. Mara is actually ripping right now.
Mara, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What? So the miners really are moving. That looks like that's
Mara, Riot. I'm sure MSTR is probably doing well. Let's see here. MSTR not so much actually, but those other two were doing pretty well. That must mean CLSK is doing really well.
ONMD getting a mention here from Smoke Tuna. This is just ripping. See, here's the thing. So when you just mention a ticker and the ticker is ripping, I don't really think that's much of a help, to be quite honest, because I don't understand what the trade is here unless you were already in this. I mean, I see this break through the pre-market high. This thing's absolutely running. I just don't see another trade here. Entry, I guess I should specify. Boy, Ondas really did pull out of the open there. Netflix ramping, Apple ramping, Bitcoin up, Rocket up. Okay, so there's some strength, there's some weakness here. Ethereum is up.
I mean, I thought we talked about yesterday about how Ondas, really benefit from a pullback here.
Yeah, it does.
And because that $12 area we talked about with all the consolidation from the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, that's like the last large hurdle, it seems, for this, like the last large concentration of shareholders. So going to need some good volume to get through that, in my opinion. That's like a $3 consolidation range. So I think it'd be great if this just did pull back, and then the next time it comes back up here, we chew through this with some more volume. I think that'd be ideal for ONDS.
Yeah, and see, like this 982, this 9 EMA, this 982 value, a pullback to this and a hold here would actually set for a move back towards those highs. I don't know if we get that, but that's what I'd be looking at here on the chart.
Let's see. Miners are talking about NAC is looking good, says Lion. Ed Edwards wants to look at Loan Depot. I think that's what you mean, LDI, right?
Yeah, that's the ticker for Loan Depot.
Okay. SGBX, not too bad looking with its setup, but we don't want to see the volume go away, which it also looks like it might be doing.
TMQ, this also got mentioned. This has been a recent mover and trader here. This popped and dropped.
Yeah, I wonder if we end up seeing a lot of pop and drops.
Yeah, and Lion here mentioning the rare earth. Indeed, a lot of those are moving here. We talked a little bit about USAR. This actually pulled back to the pre-market open here. See if it bounces in USAR. LEU still beasting here. This is one that we have covered quite a bit. Man, 391. I remember when we talked about this going to 300. This thing looks like it's going to 400 now. Cam, the Ondas interview is a week from today. It's next Friday in the morning prior to the open.
Yeah, rare earth taking up. I think that was off of the news that China was going to restrict more rare earth exports. So we're back to that now.
Yep, that's exactly. We reported that news this morning, 13.
So here we go. More of this, but at least the SPY is doing what we were looking for. So we did get that open in the middle of yesterday's real body. We're pushing up to the all-time highs. Could see some all-time highs again today. Wouldn't be surprising if we did.
SPY here, yeah. This actually is a nice little ramp here. NASDAQ doing the same thing. We talked about on Happy Hour yesterday. I mentioned it this morning. It really, and so far we got a power candle on volume out of the open here. And don't look now. Don't look now. I know it's early in the session, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But looking at this, look where Ondas is bouncing from. It basically just tapped that line. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. I've got it right back at its VWAP here. 1017-ish. Okay. I'm not trading that back and forth. I'm still just kind of waiting for 12 and 15 is my next areas to trim.
Well, all right. All right. Well,
Tenzin, what's the exit plan on Apple? Is it feel? Are you selling into strength? Is there a particular level or dollar level that you're looking at? Let us know.
So far, none of these movers from this morning have worked at all. Looks like
Nope.
YHGJ.
I don't even know what ticker you just said.
YHGJ.
YHGJ. Here it is.
Yeah,
Got it.
That one looks like it's trying to get through this. This. Okay, well there it goes. It's this price action from in the pre-market here. I still don't even know if this is going to be good, but it could just just completely pump its way to 9. I don't know.
Harley, who's clipping? I don't hear 13 clipping, and obviously I can't tell if it's me. So
who's clipping?
He means the audio is
I know.
clipping, but I just don't know. I didn't hear you do that at all. So
I wonder what the SQQs look like, because we are having a big move in the Qs to the upside right now. We're not far enough away. Never mind. Well,
here's
okay.
NAC, by the way, just straight vertical out of the open.
And here goes that GJ one trying to make its way to 9. Silly.
Both of you were fading out. Just leave YouTube and come back in, and it fixed it. Okay, so yeah, it sounds okay on my end. All indications are that we're good, and we got good connections here.
Yeah, Joseph, it wouldn't surprise me if that was on YouTube's side.
Sounds like a virtual hiccup pause as you talk. That must be awful. I mean, I don't. Yeah, try. It was better now. It was both of you. Okay, try leaving and coming back or refreshing and see if that works at all.
Or restream maybe.
I'm going to roll through some of these stocks here. GWH, this hasn't done anything yet. SGBX, this popped a little bit and rolled right back over. CRML, maybe this goes here.
YHJG or GJ, that just was shy of 9, 4 cents shy of 9. That's silliness.
APLD, this up near the top end of that pre-market range. I don't know if I'd call this going crazy, but
Baru having some movement here, and going to draw a little bit of a trend line through some of these highs. I'm going to start with that one at 715, draw it through the high of 805, and that kind of gives us a little breakout target, which is about 55 cents. So we'll see what we end up getting there.
CCTG halted to the upside. Boy, SLE, just what a disaster. What a disaster. I am so glad I said, look, if you guys get this stock loves to pull back. If you guys have gains in this, got to take it. Look at this just awful, awful move. Just absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. That's terrible. That's a terrible move. There's base and there's terrible. And this is terrible. All right. That's my Charles Barkley for the morning. I'm done.
And SLE's gap filling. So probably will result in a complete gap fill down to 365, unless there's some support coming at about 4. But have fun with that.
That thing's going all the way back. ONMD continues to spike higher here. It's now 30 cents above its VWAP. Wolf with the U, by the way. This is a red dog stock. Just look at this move. Big, nice little move yesterday. Big after hours move. More continuation here today.
All right. Baru hitting the trend line that I just mentioned, and we're about to push through it, it looks like. So get that Aunt Baru money, folks. Baiynd, are you still on that one?
My Aunt Baru money went up in flames, dude. Oh, man, I'm terrible. What else do we have moving off here? CCJ, unsurprised to see this. Amy, the antimony stock, that's also moving. Nice Barkley. I mean, I'll take that. That's coming. Look at CCJ here. God, what we were talking about this as a good buy at like 45.
CCJ.
FLR. That Tim Melvin has been on FLR a lot recently. What's that doing here? Look at that nice move here on FLR.
Oh, that's another one of the electrical grid infrastructure build out. So yeah, that definitely FLR. My wife used to do global mobility for them.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, CCJ, new all-time highs. And anything looking interesting, folks?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm sorry, but I'm at a lack of decent setups. I see a lot of these stocks running here, but I have a lack of decent setups for a new trade, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I do think, and I know your folks are mentioning Rocket Lab. I do like that this is done really well and it's taken off, but it is just so extended. It's probably going to come back in, but I still think this is a really good company. This is going to be one of SpaceX's biggest competitors, and they're not going to make a Starship, but they're going to be they're working on that Neutron rocket, which is going to be a competitor with Falcon 9. So that's what they're going to be competing against, the smaller loads.
BBAI, this looking like this might take out its intraday high here. Don't feel great about buying upside breaks yet here this morning, but BBAI looking strong. Here we go, right through it. Damn. I didn't feel good about that setup, but that ended up going right through. BBAI. QNRX might go again. That was one Tuna was talking about. This is now resumed. Oh, look at this.
All right, so 1645 is the session high. What was the news on this?
They're trading higher. The company announced a $104.5 million private placement.
And the market cap is 4.8 prior to this move, so that'll send it. Float about a little more than 500,000 shares, so this is going to be easy to push around. I wonder where this ends up going today. I mean, we've already had a big move out of the gate here that took us up to 1645 over the 200 EMA on the daily. 1645, pretty okay. So it went right to a big resistance area from last year, which was previously support. That's 16. Looks like 60. We call it 1650. Man.
Webcoin, what a call here. QNRX, it's going to halt here at 1536 if this holds. I am not in this, unfortunately. I was trying to be a little conservative there. This is going to halt here. QNRX, what a call from Webcoin. And I think, Tuna, you were on this one earlier, right? Prior to that first halt. QNRX, pretty sure that you mentioned that one. Bang, bang.
I could see 1970 being next. If we can make our back up through the 1650 to 1670 area, get with some volume, that 1970 area looks like that would be the next resistance. Meanwhile,
IDAI with some life. Yeah, I think there's going to be some big stuff in this one eventually. Would love to see it. Like, nice to see some continuation there. The buy zone was 3 on IDAI.
Yep. And it was I was trying to get a little bit more, just under 3, but it was being stingy earlier this week. So I've got what I've got.
BITF maybe towards the top end there. Still don't see anything great. I'll tell you what, that QNRX, that was the missed entry there. That was, what a call.
Any trades taken today? No.
Nope. Not yet.
Nothing day traded, just stuff that I've already been in.
Yeah, missed QNRX. That was really the only setup that interested me. I was looking at SLE early, but that thing just waterfall right out of the open. There's just no way, no reason to buy that falling knife there.
Yeah. Because I'm not sure what is going to be good going into the weekend.
Yeah, I don't think I would put on any new position here. The only thing I might do, especially if NASDAQ pumps again, maybe add to the PLTZ trade.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Palantir short ETF.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be in and out today. Nothing to really pick up and hold over the weekend or anything like that. Doesn't seem like that would be the move. Although I am kind of curious as to what this big news is going to be that's going to make us really happy, according to Trump. That's
Monday, Tuesday, right?
Yeah. So I have some thoughts on what that might be, but I'm not going to get into it here.
CoreWeave, nice little pop out of the open on volume, back tested its VWAP and is now moving towards the top end of the range. I do think that 150-250 might be a break spot there. This setup actually very similar to the QNRX setup. Had a nice little impulse move right out of the open, came back in, really did kind of hold this 9 EMA. I know maybe we peaked beneath it in the next candle here, but then the rip through VWAP on volume took us back up to the high end of the range. I don't know if this has got any more in it, but that cross there looked all right. Just didn't get filled on it.
I'm still looking to see if it's going to go to 1970 out of the halt, but there was some pretty good resistance at 12 in the pre-market, and then once we opened, we got above that, and that became support. You can draw a line at 12 and look at a smaller time frame to get a better idea of that. But that's kind of what I'm looking at here, is that 12 was resistance, turned support. And if this comes back in, we're going to be looking at $12 as a support level that could end up breaking.
Okay. Okay.
LiDAR up 19%. BDA having a good morning. Yeah, it is. Okay, so yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier, Market Sniper, that 1650 area. Because when you look back to the left, you can see how that was previously a support area for a while, and then we once we lost it, it's become the big resistance area now. So yeah, 1650. Need to get back above that with volume.
We'll see what happens out of the halt. Gorv, that had news. Market Sniper saying that is waking up. GORV. That actually is not terrible there. I wonder if that gets above. Let's see. What do we have here? High there, 308. Yeah, 308. Looks to be that high. That VWAP up there at 363. Ooh. So
CCTG, that one's unhalted and it is getting taken down.
CCTG, let me bring that up here.
I think that means that QNRX is possibly going to be unhalting pretty soon. So I think that unhalted shortly after CCTG.
I've got the time for you. Signals is good today. QNRX halted for the fourth time, 950. All right. 950. So that should be opening any minute here.
Yeah. And here's Baru trying to hit that trend line one more time. It's been hammering it the past 10 minutes. We get through this trend line, we're going to be wanting to see this take out that 56-cent resistance area.
So Gorv got through this here. That's GORV. That got through the 308. Would like to see an increase in volume here, GORV.
Funky Cold, have a good weekend. We'll hopefully we'll see you on Monday.
Indeed. Take care of yourself. Enjoy.
All right. What is looking good? All right, here we go. We got to move through that trend line with Baru.
Here, here's Baru.
And let's sorry, I'm focusing a little bit on this penny stock. It's just that it's got an interesting setup, and I know that some folks are in it, so just thought I'd kind of follow it a little bit here. But 56 cents.
And sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish. I thought you were done.
The 56 cents. That's the level that we're watching for here. It's the highs of the rate of the pre-market. So got to get through that now.
And with QNRX not opening up here, Webcoin's right. That's likely a 10-minute halt. So that was 9:50. We look 4 more minutes until that opens there. JEF, Big Bees. This was a good mention on the happy hour by you last night. This was actually covered very early on Squawk Box this morning, saying that they had some real problems here. Looks like that maybe we are going lower here. JEF.
Yeah, I mean, this could go sideways for a time, but I do think the levels we were talking about that were lower, especially where that bounce area could be down in the 47. I think I said 47. Maybe it was more like 42, but it's in the mid to 40 area. There's a support that could provide a bounce, but yeah, I think that he's right about this going lower.
It looks like a lot of this stuff is going lower. Here's UEC. This looks like it's stalling at 15.
Got to get through that 56-cent area line. That's where Baru's been hung up at all morning. Got to get some volume and chew through that area.
What does that company even do? Do we even know?
I'm only trading the technicals.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I don't know what the company does.
NVIDIA 193, actually pre-market highs coming up here. 194, watch the break there on NVIDIA. 194, that might be some more upside. That would be good for tech too.
Looks like we're getting some more upside movement here with NKLR. Still looking to see if this goes to 1750 today. That's kind of where I'm seeing resistance at if we move up there today. Now I know that we went higher than the pre-market. Kind of wondering if this pop and then drop was some of those insiders that were selling because it hit those price milestones that removed the lockup for them. So we'll see if that has if that's what the case was, and if we're going to, get up to that 1750 now that those sellers are out of the way. Peru coming back in.
STAI coming back in. GWH, one of our movers from earlier, can't really get going. CCCX, yeah, which we talked about earlier. Big knife there.
Laser technology, got it. Okay.
Lasers.
Freaking laser beams. Welding, 3D printing. I thought there was one other thing that they were using that for. Now that I'm trying to recall some of the things I read about this at one point. I thought there was another angle that they were using. It was like lasers, welding. What was the other one?
Tesla maybe on a move through its VWAP right here.
Let's see if I can figure out what that was. Oh, okay. So healthcare. That's the other thing. All right. So Brew rejected near the 56 cent area. Hopefully it can hold above VWAP. Orbs going lower. SLE down to the 65 EMA now. Meanwhile, NKLR still trying to push its way up to that 750 area.
ONMD, this might be returning back towards its highs. That actually is showing a little bit of strength here. I'd be nervous about a pull chasing it up here, though. GWH, you guys are mentioning that. That was off our movers list from earlier.
Yep.
Okay, so here we are. I've got VWAP 364, current price 358. Would like to see a move through that.
Yeah, so did Nicola too, Jay Rice. I mean, all you had to do was push it down the hill.
Mullen and Nicola having great technology. How about that?
Yep. It's hand started, which is great.
Can you imagine living back in the day where you had to hand start cars, hand crank them?
Well, if you had nothing before, then you probably thought it was the greatest thing.
Yeah, that's probably true. QNRX, look at that. Halted here and then up. Oh my God, this is going to halt again here at 1925. Yep. Grats to man. I wish I got filled on that. Oh, 1,000 shares on that would have been a good one.
Let's see. Did that go to the spot?
Did you guys have chokes on your cars in the 80s? No, I had that on the lawnmower and the snowblower though.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're up at this. I was looking for, I think, 1970. So we halted prior to that, but that's where the next area of resistance is in QNRX. Yeah, I'm sure that the kids were just aching to be the one to jump out and crank the engine back on back in the day. I'm sure it's silly for us now, but back then that was probably the bee's knees.
And then the technology, speaking of good technology, was the starter that just did it for you. Just press a button.
Yep. That's right. Consumer sentiment comes out soon. Thank you. Oh, actually, it just did.
That's the University of Michigan consumer sentiment number.
All right. Well, that's a nice one, QNRX. Don't know where this is going to go next after 1970. I would imagine it pulls back a little bit, but we'll see.
Dan Nick saying, I've had this for 5 years. So so what's the thesis? Finally, it's a good day for you, Dan. Happy Friday, buddy.
Yeah, long-term gains too.
What was the thesis on this back when you were legging into it?
All right, NKLR. Looks like that hit 1750 and backed off. Oh, there's that one now.
Gary says, I was the TV remote as a kid. So actually, it's funny. So was I. When I was real young, my dad used to ask me, hey, change the channel to this. And I would get up there and do it. Then remotes came out, and that was the end of my job there. I had to move on to cleaning gutters, frankly. So that was fun, though. SGBX getting mentioned here by Tuna. No context on it. Maybe this is holding here for a move back to the VWAP. It's actually got a pretty good range if it does make that move back to the VWAP.
All right. So a pretty fun morning. Wish there were some more things to.
I wish I had done more this morning. I feel like I missed QNRX there, even though we were talking about it. I did feel like we avoided a massive bullet in SLE. Maybe that does curl, but Ryan's car wash. Don't get caught riding dirty. God, is that a good? Oh my God. Jay Harris, if that ever materializes, I may have to do that. Because that's awesome. I'm not going to lie. That is awesome. Don't get caught riding dirty. Use Ryan's car wash. Like that. What else we got here? Gorv. Okay, this is coming back on. Would love to see a move back to the VWAP on Gorv.
Here's a license plate for you.
What's up?
There's a license plate for you right there.
Riding dirty. See, I wouldn't want to put anything like that on my own license plate. I would not want law enforcement to be like, oh, look at this clever jerk. We're going to pull him. That to me, I would rather just not do that.
If you can catch me, officers. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I've actually watched a video that you want to talk about. You want to talk about just unbelievable stuff. I watched a video on YouTube of these people that just the state troopers try to pull them over on the highway and they try to run. I could never imagine in all of my life doing that. All of my life. And it's crazy. It's so dangerous.
Seen a lot of those videos not end well. Anyway. Baru back above the trend line. Let's see if this thing can get going and push through 56 this time.
Look at Oklo, 153. 153. This is another one that was for a stock that we just talk about all of the time. Every dip buyable on the stock. And here we go. More new highs here on Oklo. Definitely missed this one too.
All right. Still a pretty good morning.
Yeah. So where did QNRX end up here? 1925. Brent putting the stop there at 19. I can't, honestly, I can't even. I can't fault you for that. I probably would have already been out on this pump.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking. I was talking about how I saw. Okay, here we go. It just opened and it's over 21 and coming back in a little bit, going back and forth. Yeah, I was looking at 1970 as the next resistance area. We just absolutely chewed through that, but it's running into some sellers here in the 20s.
Yeah, there we go. 20 now, 21 coming. Great stuff. For any of you that were trading this, I'm just going to start handing out multiple register rings.
It's going to halt. It could halt again at 22, yeah. All right, well, this is going to continue upwards. We're at 22 now, and maybe this goes to 30. Maybe. Let me look and see if there's some other dumb levels that I can draw up on here.
You can never beat the radio. No car is faster than a police radio. Always. And as Michelle is saying, that stuff is extremely dangerous. You risk other people's lives. There's just no good. It's no good. But like I was just saying, watching the video, I felt nervous and I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Just don't ever do that. Just don't ever do that. That's what we're going to leave it at.
I don't know that it's going to do this, but there's a 65-week EMA at $100
for QNRX.
That would probably be my stupid level of the day.
I've got it at 107, but man, I'll tell you what, you get that would be.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to go there. That's why I'm saying it's my stupid level. We've seen the stupid levels get hit, but I don't know that it's going there today. But there's other levels we can look at. I mentioned another one, $30. Looks like that could be the next resistance. So.
This is such a good question here. Ahmed is asking, any thoughts on race going long? Yes, this was actually something that we discussed in the happy hour yesterday. Let me show you on the chart here why we were talking about this. Look where race is. Look at, this is Ferrari, ticker RACE. Look at the support area that this big pullback took us to. Now, it might go lower here, maybe 400, maybe even 390 or something like that, but this does look like a support level. No position for me. These options are expensive and not all that liquid, but boy, oh boy, this might be one.
And this is down on the news that they're kind of changing their approach to which kinds of vehicles to make, right?
Yeah, this comes down to the fact that they cut their EV allotment from 40 to 20%.
I think that was a great move. And
I think that's the thought here, right? We sold off to a support area. The move's actually good going forward, thus the long thesis.
Yeah, I think that was wise, and they should get back to what they were known to do. And when I think of a Ferrari, I don't think of a battery propelled electric motor. I think of V12s.
Yeah, I think of engines that sound like nothing else in the world that are just absolutely tough.
Thank you, producer. Trump's 5 p.m. Oval Office event is on lowering drug costs.
I'm going to refresh Pro here and see if I can get a little bit of speed. Mo is saying that QNRX is indicating 45. I don't have that. If that's right, then oh my God.
Okay, well, maybe
don't have it. Don't see that. Just reporting what the chat's saying.
Yeah, maybe the stupid level does get hit. I'm not guaranteeing that it does. I have my doubts, but I would just be focused on 30 next, because that looks like that's the next resistance area to me.
Michael here saying the daily gap at 99. So your stupid level looks like there's some other levels on this as well. QNRX. I mean, look, if you get it 13, I'm gonna.
It's funny how we got folks coming out and be like, hey, no, the stupid level's got this, it's got that. And I'm just like, hey, look, if you're seeing more than what I am, and it looks like 100 is going to happen, then maybe it could. I don't want to, I don't want to, say that none of these ideas are bad. I think they're great. I just, I'm not sure what's going to get it up there, other than just, the demand and we need to see the volume, of course. But $30 is what I see next, and then we'll go from there. Maybe we'll go from there to 45 and 100 thereafter.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work, but Gorv, this actually doesn't look like a terrible setup right here. Still above the 9 EMA and the 15 EMA, both of which are at 303. 305 seems to be a spot to break here. And again, that VWAP at 358. So a volume pop and expansion here likely sends this thing higher. I don't know if that's going to happen. Tuna, I'd be curious. Does this look like a setup to you? Definitely needs some more volume.
EU options very liquid. Big Hurt. Take care, Big Hurt. Have a good rest of your week.
Sideshow, Ryan and 13 for these stupid levels that you're talking about. Do you ever just buy 100 shares? You know, I've thought about that. I haven't. There's been a couple of these wild ones where I've caught with just like 100 shares, but I've also tried us on some of these wild ones with 100 shares, look back at it 5 minutes later and be like, I'm down $400 on this. like what on earth? Like this thing's all over the place. Generally, it all comes down to the setup. If I feel as if there's any type of setup, like on QNRX, when we pulled and took the VWAP back on volume, I was like, okay, maybe this has the chance to go higher. But I tried to take a conservative approach and add it a little bit lower. Never got filled. Now here we are.
Yeah, and it's you know, it's not a bad spot to do a, you know, to make it part of a bracket order or an OSO order.
Yeah,
so
one cancels the other order. Yeah.
Right. So like, let's say that you know, you're not sure if it's going to go to that stupid level, but you have an order out there in case it does reach it. Meanwhile, you also have a trailing stop so that as it goes up, your risk to the downside lessens every time. It's just going to continue raising your stop out, so you can't possibly lose on that trade. Meanwhile, you're still leaving yourself room for the possibility of it going up to that stupid level. And making money all the same. So it's, you know, that's kind of the way I would be doing it is with bracket orders if we're going to try and use those stupid levels.
Look at Xena. Look at the Warrior Princess. Just big time green candles all out or just out of the open all the way to the highs here. Smoke Tuna says, Gorv, don't see a setup. Okay, well, that was one of just the better looking charts, but I guess just with no volume, it doesn't really have much of anything going on.
Oh, take care, Lion. Have a good one. Great stuff today and this week.
Okay, LL, this is your levered 2x long ETF for Oklo. Obviously, this thing's ripping here today.
Everything has got an ETF. If there's a bubble at all, it's an ETF bubble. There are more ETFs on the market than there are stocks right now. This is insane.
First time in history, too, that's been the case. SLDP, good mention here. Kathy, this pulled back to its VWAP. Maybe we go make an attempt to take that high on SLDP.
SGBX, this one moved back up to its VWAP. We have sideways price action from YHGJ. I hate saying that name.
I feel like I'm going to screw it up.
I know. I hate saying G and J right next to each other.
Too.
I always feel like I'm going to butcher it, but anyway, there's NKLR still trying to deal with 1650 SLE. That seems to be turning around. VWAP is I have it at 452, so it looks like it could climb back up to that level. Orbs, this looks like it's at a support area that needs to hold, or we're going to probably come down to maybe even yesterday's closing area. Not sure.
This doesn't look great. This looks like a rejection at VWAP in pre too. So
yeah, Baru not able to get over 56 cents, losing a lot of support levels right now. Next one I see right from here is going to be 52 even.
I guess I'll put that up here. Baru.
Is this the whole market pulling or what?
Well, the market pulled off of its high, but I wouldn't say that it's pulling here. S&P futures still up 0.2. NVIDIA here seems to be bucking the market trend. Still that 195 previous intraday high or yesterday's intraday high.
Stop it.
What? What did I do?
Okay, so when we opened today, we went 1 penny higher than yesterday's high. The all-time high. So I
didn't even realize.
We have an all-time high by a penny. This market.
13 is not happy with the.
It's not that I'm not happy. It's just it's silly. Like, oh, let's just go 1 penny slightly higher, and make a new all-time high.
So I started, when I took a look at the SPY chart this morning, I started by saying I was not going to adjust the all-time high because we really basically only barely set a new one, and realistically it's been trading sideways. So now for us to have only set it by a single penny, that's like that is silly. That's almost a joke. Brian here thinks the ES is about to dump. This did pull back here, but it's holding so far.
It is down at a support area from the pre-market. So in the pre-market, we had some highs of about 72.40, just about that area, and that's where we're currently at right now. So if we do end up closing beneath that area in this current candle, then yeah, that could speak more to the downside, I would say. But yeah, we are at a support level from the pre-market price action.
QNRX, we're getting ready to open here pretty soon, right? The last halt was at 10:06. Yep, 9:16. This is getting ready to open. I guess I'll just keep it on the screen until we open.
All right, let's see what this does.
What are we thinking? This has been halt.
I already told you what I think was going to happen here. I'm not making any other predictions. Oh, this thing is funny. Bring the penny back. What the Baru? Because that's still trying to find some support. Maybe the support's pretty close because there's a trend line that I can draw from the low of the pre-market through the low of the session, and then we're actually falling through that trend line right now. I'd still be looking at 50 cents as the next support through here. Man, this is not looking great for Peru. And we did.
QNRX opened and is going to.
I was going to say
20. God bless.
Blink if you missed it. You'll blink and you'll miss it, and that's what happened. We did gap up. We opened. We opened at 23.
I was close to picking the right stock today.
23.54, and closed at 25.89. And it still might not be done, but at some point there's going to be some profit taking, and it'll probably help to the downside. And then after that, it could get going again.
Joel saying take another look at SLE. Curling maybe pretty much back up to that 9 EMA. I'll be honest, after seeing this pull down, I don't know that I trust this. I don't know that I trust this at all.
Volume needs to be better, especially if it's going to get through the VWAP. I have VWAP at 451 now, so just slightly lower from when it was the last time we were looking at it. It's got to have some better volume if it's going to get to that VWAP. And once it does, there is a resistance area at 480, 485. If you look at the like a smaller time frame,
let me go back to it. Sorry.
No worries. If you look at a smaller time frame, you can see in the when we had this impulse move up, we went through that area, and the second candle used it as support. And then as we came back during the pre-market, it was using that same area, that 485 area as support, and then we lost it at the open. Haven't been able to recapture it since. So I think that if we do get above VWAP, that 485 area is going to be the resistance area to watch for.
And I still have VWAP at 507. What was yours?
Mine's at 451.
Hey, that's not far here. Still don't trust this. After what I saw here today, I just don't trust it. That's all.
Orb's new low. This might be running into some support down around 10 even. We'll see if that holds up. All right, so SPX entering trend lower territory. SPX gap fill reversal.
It's moving back down, but it's still holding here.
All right. So we are getting that support for orbs at 10. It looks like we just had a low print of 10:06. Haven't seen it quite reverse yet. Got 25 seconds left in this candle. As far as SLE goes, I think I will say this. It just needs volume. If it gets that volume, we can start pushing through some of these sellers. Like the next one here is at 440. There's some sellers, kind of spread out in the 450s. So if we get enough volume, we might be able to just chew through all that supply. We'll see.
See if it's got the strength to do it right here.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, it looks like it just kind of backed off that spot right here, rolling a little bit.
Need more volume. looks like a lot of things are kind of just pulling back for the time being. We do have 10 minutes left before volume really does start to leave the market, maybe for the weekend in some cases. QRNX is too high to get into. Yeah, I don't. I don't think I'd be trying to put a position, or an order out for position here right now. I don't think I'd be doing that right now.
Yeah, me either. I'll pass.
Yeah, but I agree. I certainly agree. I don't think this is the time to do that.
QS, someone was asking about this earlier.
Well, somebody had mentioned that. I think I'm trying to think of what car company was going to be using their battery, but that's what I think the news was. Let's see here, because I'm sure the newsfeed will tell us which company that was. That's not Murata. That's not what that is. If the gentleman that said that earlier was still here, if they could mention which car company that was, I'd appreciate it. But I remember seeing it, them say something like that. So it's probably just on that news, which I can't seem to find right now.
Chester, you're not invisible. It's just there's a lot going on and we don't catch everything. It's nothing personal. Don't worry about that. If you caught it, and especially if you were talking about this at 13, that stock is way higher now. You should be absolutely thrilled. Should be absolutely thrilled that it's at 20, almost 26 right now.
Was it halting to the downside at that time too?
Josh is yelling Ducati over and over again. Was
Ducati? That I think that might have been it. That might have been it. Because yes, I think that's the one. Because I remember when I saw that, I was also thinking of Harley and their e-bikes that they had. Thank you. Levels on Netflix.
Not a great day for the swings. Damn. Wish I would have hit QNRX. Because I could have made up for all of it here today. I'm down on the day.
There'll be other opportunities like that. Always is. Always will be.
Yep. And this is here now with SLE. This is one of the reasons why I was saying, I know you had told me to go back to it when it was curling, but look what it's doing now. And I hope nobody bought that at the curl high, because man, it just less than great.
So for Netflix, this I've got a trend line here from the all-time high through the high in September, and just based off that, we're breaking over that trend today and coming up to some resistance between 1250 and it looks like 1268, maybe even just we could 1268, 1270. That's the next area of supply that we got to get back up through before we run into some of the all-time high supply, which is really starts to get thicker at about 1275. So those are some of the levels I'd be looking at here, and then of course you have the all-time high of 1331. Yeah.
ADK, I just saw a commercial for Kodiak, ticker KDK on CNBC. I've never seen that before. Interesting.
Will they rotate into the safe stuff? I think there was news about them changing some of their product ingredients. Let me double check that, because I thought I saw something about how they're introducing more fiber.
Oh no.
Into their into some of their products.
Oh no. I'm trying to refresh my platform. I'm getting the ghost on the chart, but I think it might just be a me thing.
Okay. Yeah, let me see if I can find that. I know I saw something when I was reading the news this morning about Pepsi and changing some of their the ingredients of their product lineup to be more on the healthier side. Launch new development from water brand Propel for GLP-1 consumers. That's not it, but that's interesting.
Orv ended up rolling.
Yeah. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time trying to find that news, but I do recall seeing that they were trying to change some of their
formulations of some of the drinks.
Yeah, and that's something. Well, not just the drinks, but their snacks as well. And that's goes back to what we were talking about with in happy hour about reformulation of some of these food brands. So we were, and Pepsi should certainly be one of the companies that does that.
Seeing some December 50 calls in ETHA being bought. I'm in the 40 December calls for this. So that would be sweet if we get another Bitcoin move maybe over the weekend.
That'd be cool.
QNRX set to open up here if it's another 10-minute halt in just about a minute. 25.89 is your previous price there. I've got that halted at 17.08. It's 26 right now. 26.15. So we got just under a minute here until this opens.
All right. And then let's see what's going on with Baru here. Just to circle back. So that's trying to climb back up, but this is not looking the greatest at the moment. GWH. This one losing the 65 EMA, SGB. SGBX, this is recapturing its VWAP, making its way back up to the 670 area that I was outlining in the before we opened here. So coming up to a resistance area, SGBX.
Nice volume pop right now.
And if it does manage to get through the 670s, the next area I have for resistance at is going to be up in the 7s. It's at 765, but I think the 7 to 710 area also could have some resistance. All right, let's see here. What else is looking good? So we're getting a pullback here from SGBX now after hitting that next resistance.
And I think we're expecting this to open here pretty soon.
QNRX?
QNRX, yeah, let me see. Right. I mean, we're past the time. 1708. It's 2742. So we're past the time. So maybe it's a 15-minute.
Orb's trying to recover. That went underneath 10.
You guys were asking about LiDAR.
Oh, yeah, let's take a look at that.
385 seems to be the spot on LiDAR.
Don't see any news today, just from Tuesday, about how they commenced shipping of Apollo to U.S. defense contractor. Let's see here. So what's the price action looking like today? Well, I got another. Okay, so it did have some resistance at 4. I have another resistance level at 430, and then after that 5, and then 6.
I'm seeing some puts get bought here in WDC, which is interesting because it is trading sideways after pulling off that high. We talked about this as a potential regression back to the mean trade. And that SGBX, is that still flirting with its VWAP right there? That's kind of dancing around, isn't it? Right there. Here, let me go to the 5-minute. Yep. So it peaked above that and pulled. We'll see if it's got strength to go through it again. Still think adding on weakness is the way to go with all of these plays. Oh, there we go, SGBX.
Yep, got to get to that 670 area. Okay. Anyone have any news on the healthcare sector? Lots of big names with staph infection. Really? I haven't heard of it.
That sounds bad, yeah.
I haven't heard news of staph infection. But what do you mean about big names? You talk about like...
you were breaking up right there. Your audio, I actually heard at that time. It's not your fault. And your video, I think, is frozen or slow. Did QNRX... Yep, QNRX. Oh my God, I missed it. I take it off the screen and I miss it. It opened, rehalt 32. God, grats to anyone that had this. Now I am pissed that this thing did not, that I did not get filled on that. And okay. SGBX from Kathy's call. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, not.
It's still not. Still not on it.
Yeah, it's trying to move away from its VWAP though.
And QNRX. Let's see where this goes next. It's still going through resistance areas that I'm outlining, and I think I might even be upset.
I mean, it's just I don't even know if I can buy it, but I didn't get an error when I put the order out.
Let's take a look here.
How the hell do you get out of it? Well, gosh, that's a good problem to have. I would just put it if you're okay. So here's what I would do.
Bracket order.
Yeah, I was going to say one cancels the other order. I would put one maybe right above the price in case it pops again, but I would also put one lower so that if it gaps down, you still get filled and get your gain. I've got to assume that you're in from much lower here, so maybe that's the way to do it. You can set those orders up while it's halted. SGBX, Kathy, just giving out. That was awesome, Kath. This worked right from your call. This basically popped above the VWAP, traded back and forth right around the VWAP, and then now it's going. Right. Albert saying SGBX under 4 in the next 30 minutes. Well, if that's the case, you better get those long side trades booked. I don't know what's going to happen here, but this was a monster call from Kathy. This going 7 now.
The next resistance area that I'm seeing for QNRX is kind of a range. It's like a $5 range. It's I think it's going to be from about $37.50 to $42.50. Seems like that's, I don't know exactly where in that range, but that looks like the next area where it might run into some resistance, or maybe it just goes right up there and halts in that area. But that's
7+ pop on SGBX. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but this thing has been awesome. Kathy.
Well done, Kathy. This is awesome.
Yeah, good Lord.
All right, so through the 670 area, coming through the $7 and change area, next resistance is going to be up around 765. Oracle back over 300. My man.
I'd feel better about SGBX if I wasn't holding GWH. So that's an important thing to mention there. I know we talk a lot about the stocks that are running here. If you're going to trade any of these, you're likely going to have some losers. And it's how you offset your losers with some of the winners that's going to determine how you feel at the end of the day. So that good mention there, Kath. Good mention on that.
Orbs is back up, now back over 10, actually 10.49 the current price.
God, 738. This SGBX, what a move into that ramped volume. PayPal, this is pounding the lows right now. I don't necessarily have a setup on PayPal. Let me know if you have a possible entry spot there. Beware of a possible rug pull on SGBX. I would play small size or book gains on the way up, right? It's pulling now off that recent high that it just printed.
And we're going to hold that. If you're looking up, hold that.
Hey, we'll take this. Green leaves. Thanks, producer, for the halt list a few days ago. Caught QNRX off the third halt. It ends my painful 3-day loss streak. Excellent. Off the roller coaster. Go.
I like excellent. That. I'm glad that you turned things around, especially at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Go into your weekend with confidence, sir.
Absolutely.
Orb still climbing up to the 65 EMA now. It's a nice reversal off of the 892 area. I'm sorry, 982 area. QS also trying to turn around here. Needs some more volume though. Remember, this has a large float, so a little bit harder for this to move around, but it still does move. And we're still holding.
That was nasty.
We're still holding above that 670 area with SGBX.
CoreWeave just pulled back off that pop, but nothing to really worry about. Still green there on CoreWeave. ONMD back up to the top end of the range there. That breakout spot there, 375. And I know a bunch of you guys are mentioning BBAI. We actually took a look at that earlier. Has that ramped even more? Tuna saying 10 possible here, BBAI. There's another stock. I look at this chart. Where's the entry? Like this is really only good if you're already in it.
Do you have the trend line on this one still on the daily?
Oh, let me check. It's a daily trend line, right?
Yeah, it looks like okay. So you see probably where I'd be drawing it from that high in February through the high in July.
Yeah,
And
the February 2024. Or wait, no, you're.
Yeah, the February 2025.
Yeah, that's
that one. Yeah. So from there, draw it through there. We try to get above it once. That was in September. We failed. Now we're back up here trying it again.
Okay.
And we're trying to get above this July high that we drew our trend line through. So that's where we're at right now. And if we succeed, then the next one I'll be looking at is the high from February.
Great rip there, BBAI. For those of you that are in it, what's the sell plan on it, if any? OKLL, more new highs here. So that means Oklo probably got to still be at the highs. Oklo plus 13%, 156. Good God.
Peru down to 50 cents. We did get a pullback here in SGBX down to that 670 area. It's getting some support from there right now, but not sure if it's going to hold or not.
Tom, Ryan, what price were you looking to get filled in QNRX? 14. And actually, I think I had it at like 1403 because I just plopped it down. I tried to go fast, but it wasn't fast enough. Thing had already moved up to 15, and once it blinked 15, it didn't even look back. There was no chance. I would have had to have been really aggressive with the order, and if it had just pulled, I would have immediately looked at myself and been like, "What are you doing? What are you doing chasing the highs?" We talk about not chasing the highs here. But obviously, in the case of QNRX, it would have worked because this thing is a halt fest in the 30 handle now. So it was 14 or 1410. Probably actually show you here on the chart. Yeah, it was right here as we crossed through this VWAP. It was actually one of the high end of the candle here, and you can see it was right in here. And that next candle, bang, took us right to 15, and it didn't even blink. Look, it never even got close to challenging that. Probably, I mean, you know what I got to figure out? I got to figure out when buying aggressively is not chasing. Like that, I don't think I have yet because I'm always trying to put out a little bit more of like a conservative order. And if it doesn't get filled, then this happens. The stock runs away and I'm not in it.
Zach, great mention. So RCAT has a short report that's been issued. Just came out, looks like 20, 30 minutes ago.
Really? Who?
Fuzzy Panda.
Isn't this the one that's no good?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If it isn't, then I think we may have an opportunity here. So thank you for mentioning that because I think that's what we want to be. This is the kind of stuff we want to see. So this is getting a little bit of a pull here, not a substantial one, but if this does take it down like to 12, that could be a really good buy area.
Jim, I tried 14 and missed it 2 on QNRX. There we go. Joe, Fuzzy Panda, who the F are they? All
right. How much longer do we have on QNRX? I want to see where this goes next.
All right, let's take a look at that. I've halted here at 10:29:38. It's 38. It's about to tick 39. So the 10-minute halt has 40 seconds left, if it is a 10-minute halt.
And SGBX still holding that 670 area, actually turning around, trying to get back up towards 7. Peru getting support from 50 cents. That's trying to turn around. QS trying to hold above its VWAP. What else we got in here? RCAT chart looks like Ondas today.
Ondas actually bounced back pretty good. Ondas is only down 2.5% right now after pulling hard out of the open. QNRX, my big problem here is that I feel like as soon as I change the focus of my details tool here, it's going to open and go ham. So I'm trying to leave it up here. I know some of you are mentioning some other stocks though. NVX, that was one Tuna was on earlier, was it not?
I don't think I've looked at that one this morning.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this pulled back to its VWAP and then set some new highs. Looks like it's flirting with 3 at the moment. Michelle, have a good weekend, guys. I got my swing trades going for the day and or for the weekend. Thank you all. I appreciate you all. We appreciate you, Michelle. Have a good one.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
NVX looks like there could be some resistance at 310.
Okay.
That's a high from April of last year.
So we're past the 10-minute mark here on QNRX. So maybe it's a 15-minute.
Okay. Back to this. All right. Just waiting for QNRX. Baru still trying to move off that 50 cent area. Orbs trying to recapture VWAP after testing the 65 EMA and losing VWAP afterwards. SLE is sideways, and KLR is kind of finding some support at the 200 EMA and resistance at the VWAP. The YHGJ is still sideways, and SGBX is still trying to hold that 670 area, and if it continues to do so, that might be setting up to push up to the 760s. Looks like GWH still trying to turn around as well, but has not been able to trade above VWAP all morning. And I mean, in a regular session.
Yes, Izzy, we can see it. I see them better when they're not all caps, so I can see it for sure.
Let's see. Was there something that you were mentioning?
COSM. This is actually curling a little bit here. Oh, by the way, for those that were asking about the one accounts from Apex from yesterday, we did reach out to their team. Our team reached out to their team to remind them. So keep an eye on those inboxes. You should hear something. CRML, boy, that looked like that might go from its VWAP, and then it just pulled to the 200 EMA, and now back at the VWAP. I don't know that I trust that.
Getting asked when we think about NNE after what do they have, like some kind of an offering? That's an oversubscribed private placement. That could bode well for the company. I think because the nuclear theme's still already hot. The placement, the capital raise isn't, share dilution. It's oversubscribed, meaning a lot of people want it. And it also has some pretty significant short interest. Unfortunately, the days to cover doesn't match the short interest. Almost 24% of the float shorted. It seems like there's more upside to be had with this one, just based on the things that I'm looking at here. So we'll see if that's what ends up what happens. It gets that kind of a lift. Seems like there's a gap fill it could come up to as well. That's going to be from about 52 to 54 and a half, 55 almost. So, just a couple of things there I see with NNE.
QNRX still halted. I'm looking at Lulu here because this is actually getting ready to enter a positive seasonality, and it's still trading sideways. We have a gap fill up to like 200. I'm almost wondering if this might be. I'm almost wondering if this might be a potential move here for a swing.
The 50-day SMA is the big moving average in question for me.
On Lulu?
Uh-huh.
What value do you have?
184.23.
Okay.
It's just ever since it's been getting hammered down by not so great earnings reports, and one of the ones from earlier this year in June created a massive gap down that took it through the 50-day SMA, and it hasn't touched it since. Yeah,
Lulu CEO was on CNBC. I actually just saw that. Open? Yes, it is. Let me go back to it. I knew it would happen when I took it off the screen. 41 was your high print there. It's going to rehalt at 41.80.
And you see how we did get some selling there too? We did get a little bit.
Yeah,
get a little bit of that.
I didn't get filled on this now. 13. This would have been the entire day. Would have gone to the golf course happy as a clam.
We probably might not have seen you for the rest of the year with that.
No, I'd be back here. I'd be back here. Always more to do. But man, oh man, what a move. Well, that was one to hold. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Although, to be quite honest with you, had I going back, even with the benefit of hindsight right now, going back, if I had been filled at 14, there's almost no way I would still have any shares left at this point. 14 to 41, I'm probably all out, even if I get my fill. Even if I only got like 200 shares, I'm probably all out on this one. I mean, this is just gigantic. For you guys that have it, this is why I was asking about a plan earlier. What are your guys' plans to take gains? Dan, the guy that was down 8K on this for 5 years, you got to be dancing on the table right now. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mike. I was watching this price action. As soon as that hit 40, that area that I was looking at where there was that resistance, that consolidation, we did get that selling that resulted in that wick on the bottom part of the candle here, but it just immediately got bought back up. So let's see where. Oh man. This thing has a gap to fill and everything. And okay, so if we do get this gap fill, there could be a big move around 56, 57 that takes this thing right up to 100. That would be insane.
Just guys, for those of you that are not in it, please don't think that we're giving you these possible levels. There is no guarantee that this stock that is up 412% is going to double from here to 1,000 or to 100. Like we have no guarantee on that. Just this is, unless you have like play funds that like you can tolerate a loss on. If it goes wrong, this is not one to play. Yeah. A little bit different earlier when we were talking about it at 14, still kind of risky, but now this is greed. You're just you're chasing something up 412%. You're just looking for the action.
Totally chasing if you're trying to get an entry here. I don't think you want to do
that. Dave out QNRX $1,000 bang.
Nice.
Lance out QNRX $875 bang. So you guys that are doing this is awesome. Way to go. Again, way to go here. Just don't chase it up here. Chester, you said that you were in this from 13. What's your exit plan, if any, and what have you already done? I mean, you got to be having one of the best days of your career right here. And Wiss is right. QNRX will likely spark another one. Wait for that one. Don't chase the one that's already had its huge move. What time is it? Okay, so real quick, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Dan can't join us today. I did. Whoever's interested in bets, like 5 minutes before we turn it over to Anne Marie, I'll share some that I'll give away here, including one that I got from Dan. But we'll try and get him on. He's still interested in doing that. His workload here is just a little too much today. So we will, if anyone's interested in sports bets, next 7 minutes. Sorry, 13.
QS, that just got a nice move. It moved back. It was getting some support from VWAP, and then now we just got this sudden move that's taking it up to the 1650 area. 1689 is the current session high, so might see another test of that too. And what else is looking good here?
I'll tell you what, if Lulu pulls back and holds the intraday or holds today's low, I think a swing long for that December is for the seasonality trade might work. That's ticker LULU.
HOND, the other nuclear SPAC I mentioned earlier, that is over 20 now, and it is pretty much ripping.
Nice pop on volume right there.
SGBX also getting that volume.
NVTS, this is mentioned here. Is this halt? No, this is still moving, but man, this up near the highs, a huge rip there. You said SGBX, right?
SGBX, yep.
There we go.
That was also starting to get some volume after getting a little bit of support from that 670 area. It started moving. Let's see what else we got here, because it's. I think that's correct about how some of these other names that now that QNRX is halted again, that attention is going to divert to other names. So you're starting to see a little bit of a lift in SGBX. You're starting to get a lift again in Baru.
It's open. QNRX open. A gap down here, big.
And Watch. This is probably going to pull back and come down and test some of these other levels, and then let's see what happens later on if this.
It's going to halt to the downside at 32.10 if it holds.
Yep. And this is why we cautioned about not chasing.
Hope nobody bought it out of the halt.
Yeah, I think
Immediate pimp slap.
Some lightning hands. So this, I would say this is going to probably see another, some more downside price action. But we've seen a lot of these where they halt all the way up into these levels, and then they come back in, and then they just go on a run later on in the day. I wouldn't take this off my radar, but because this could still find some footing and turn around and make some higher prints. But for now, this is not something I think anybody should be interested in.
Yeah, Jay, you're right there on retail. But again, with Lulu here, this has already kind of been under some pressure, right? So here, if we look at the daily chart, what I'm thinking is, first of all, I'm looking at seasonality. The seasonality between now and the middle of December is exceptional for Lulu. It's been under pressure. The reason that I'm looking at Lulu is because this thing has been under massive pressure. Now, we are in this gap area. Maybe this fills up here at 200. It has been tough, but again, let's see if it can hold its low here for today.
Quantum Escape still slowly making its way up here. At large float, having it take its time, but still going higher, recovering some of these levels. Baru still climbing back up. It's making its way towards 65 EMA.
ONMD above 4.
Wow, nice one. It's probably going to be a 10-minute halt down.
Probably, yeah.
It's going to be at least that, yeah.
NVTS up near its highs.
Yeah, it looks like HOND is starting to put in a little bit of a topping out formation here.
Palantir sideways here.
Seeing a little bit of weakness across things here. And, Jay, I think that's one thing that could end up happening with NKLR. Capital from Oklo, LEU, SMR, and maybe even CCJ. Those could rotate to NKLR. Not all the capital, but some of it could. QS still trying to push up. NBX at a support area. That was getting mentioned earlier. SGBX.
Take care of yourself, Wiss. Hopefully I can hit my irons okay today.
EAF, what's going on with that one?
That's Jay's little graph thing that's really been trading better after that split, after that reverse. SGBX, this now curling back up after holding the VWAP. Didn't you talk about that pulling back to the VWAP and holding it?
My VWAP's a little bit lower than that. The level I was talking about was the 670s, and that's kind of what we got. Yeah.
Yeah, it dipped a little bit beneath it, but for all intents and purposes, it hit that one. Yeah.
Right. Now EAF. The nice thing about this one is that we've also been talking about batteries being a big thing. A strong theme going forward. Rest of this year, going into next year, and this is one such play that makes electrodes. So with graphite, so I think this is going to be within that theme. This could be a really good one. I really like some of those battery component names and battery names as a theme next year. We can work on putting a list together next week in happy hour. I think that's something we ought to do. That's what the bio guy said when they get a buyout. Which bio guy? I'm sorry, I don't know who you're referring to. Take care, Daniel. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care, Daniel. All right, real quick here. It's 9:55. 13. You don't have to jet yet, but I just wanted to. I promised people I would get this in. We got Anne-Marie coming up here in a few minutes. I definitely want to get this in. Gave out a 9-bag 9X winner yesterday on Happy Hour. Here's what I got for you for the NFL slate. This one kind of basically just a banker bet in this case. This looking for mostly favorites in this. In fact, all favorites in this. But I think these all have a pretty good chance of hitting. Some of these teams are actually the teams that are away should actually be still pretty good here. But I got Pittsburgh, Chargers, Patriots, Cowboys, Seahawks, Rams, and Colts. These are all the noon window games on Sunday. That's plus 1485. So that's 10 to win 150. That's a 15 bagger. If that one lands, we'll see. As far as the college goes, I got a little bit more of a conservative play here. Oregon, Oklahoma on the money line, Clemson covering, and South Carolina covering. I think both of these could hit. This one also kind of a banker, plus 892, so almost a 9x on this one. These come from me. Dan Leach wanted me to give you a few of them as well. You knew Dan was going to pick the Lions. Lions and the Chiefs. This is your Sunday night game. He's taking the Lions straight up at plus 120. I actually like this. I think the Chiefs are not the Chiefs of old. And then the other one from Dan here, he's got a 3-leg parlay. Again, a little bit more conservative. The Jags, the Cowboys, and the Bucks, all on the money line, gives you plus 393. So there you go. Hopefully some of these sports bets hit for you. We can continue to bring some of this back for anyone that is interested. If there isn't much interest, we can just stick to stocks.
Jay, I'm just asking what the bio guy was, who that was. I understand all that. You're just not answering the question. I didn't have anything today, tennis.
QNRX miss is all I had today.
It's just kind of like not really anything that was super great except for QNRX.
Yeah.
Some things had some decent moves, capture a little bit, but nothing really went on a big run.
Except for QNRX. Yeah.
Except for QNRX, yeah.
I am still stalking entry there on Lululemon if it can hold above I think that's 172. Let me get that actual value. Yeah, day low there is about 171 3/4. So 172. If it can hold 172, maybe leg into some December options. Looking for a move back to 200. Take care of yourself, Kev.
Take care, Kevin. Oh, close, still moving.
No, but see, here's the thing. All the glitters, you're right. I'm glad I didn't chase, and I'm happy about that, even if it would have worked. But to your point, if I had gotten filled at 14, I would not have been trapped. Believe me, I'd have been out. That limit order would have been out there.
Wow. All of a sudden, the Qs are selling off.
Yeah, SPY 2. What's going on? Big news here. Big pull across the entire market everywhere.
What is going on? I don't see it. If there's news, I don't see it immediately.
Yeah, and it wasn't the Michigan consumer number.
No. Anybody seeing?
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking pro newsfeed. We'll get to Anne-Marie here in a sec. Trump threatens massive tariffs increase on Chinese imports in response to the controls on rare earths. Yeah, that's that. God, I almost think we should buy this reaction then, because we already knew that. Yep, here it is. Squawk got it.
Wow, look at this go.
All right, get your shopping list ready though.
That's hilarious. Let's see here. Well, it
was a Truth Social account and it was a long post.
Yeah,
Trump's had enough. Just looking at this post, Trump has had enough with the goofing around that China's been doing, and now he's putting his foot down. That's why kind of the market reaction. That makes sense.
That's kind of what I'm getting from this, because if you saw what they were with the negotiations they were going through earlier in the week, China was throwing out some stupid numbers like, oh, we've got to, we'll invest $1 trillion into, different, American sectors if you make this deal happen. They are desperate to get a deal done because they have the fourth plenum coming up later this month.
Yeah.
And that's where they're going to, not only make leadership changes, but they're going to also, determine what their path forward is for the next 5 years economically. And if they don't have a trade deal in place like they want, then that's going to make it hard for them to determine that. So I think that's, that's kind of what their push has been about. But man,
they also have a debt crisis.
They have a massive debt crisis. You think that we have a
QNRX is open real quick down into a 20 handle?
You think that, we have some debt problems in the U.S.? It's nothing compared to what China's dealing with. All right, so is this where the support's going to kick in for QNRX? Let's see. Getting a lot of stuff to come in here.
Okay, 13. Oh, sorry, we went over Anne Marie. I'm sorry. 13, any closing words for the group here?
Hey, folks, another wonderful day with y'all. We didn't quite catch too many big movers, except for that one. We all know which one. That was a lot of fun to watch. And sorry to leave you as the market's tanking, but I got to go. So, folks, have a great weekend. Enjoy Marie. She's wonderful. Have a good time. I'll see you on Monday. Take care. Goodbye.
Really good work as usual, 13. We'll catch you next week. 13's departure leaves room for Anne Marie Baiynd. Let's bring her on. Anne Marie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Can I get your knee-jerk reaction to this move down in the SPY?
Controlled inventory correction into the last breakout zone. I expect that they try and buy the dip here at around 666. If that doesn't hold, the broad put wall for the weekly and monthlies are 660. So it's not a place where you just go out and go, hey, I'm buying it. But this is just a reflexive inventory move. This is not, I don't think it's substantial in terms of the actual news. What I think is going to be interesting on the back end of this is if Trump says, hey, here's what we're going to do, and inflation creeps back into our market through that, then it's going to put pressure on the Fed, and that means rates won't come in and da-da-da-da-da. But for right now, they're just selling off into a deeper support. They're breaking that 666. So let's just sit back, let the dust settle into the space. Deep dips or buys, but we could just be having ourselves just a little bit of inventory correction.
Okay. The 666 SPY calls that expire today, since I brought them up on the screen, they were a 199 ask. They are a 271 ask already. I didn't get those, unfortunately, because I was bringing Anne Marie on here. But yeah, looking like that. Okay, I like your comment there on letting the dust settle. I think that's probably smart. You want to share your screen here? We can go through some trades.
Yes.
Maybe we can look at a trade based off this.
Yeah, absolutely. So my thought is the following. So we good? Yes.
Yeah.
And I have a Lulu suggestion for you,
Excellent.
so I can do that a little bit later. But let's just take a look at SPY for a hot minute and realize the following. Now, I talked about this maybe the last time we were together. I said, hey, we had no seasonal weakness in September. It could be that they just kicked the can down the street by a couple of weeks, and we end up getting ourselves a little bit of a recalibration. And so still, in the grand scheme, that's what I think it is, because there's so much money still on the sidelines that dip actions are essentially buy zones. So have a look at my handy dandy seasonality event here. That's a line on the formation. The lower yellow one is more conservative. The blue one is more aggressive. And so what we can see is that this line is telling us, hey, we're going to chop around, stay a little sideways in this range. And so what does sideways mean from this weekly chart? Well, we've just run up like a house of fire. And so you can see 1, 2, 3, this is the fourth week. And that's where that 660 put wall is for the monthly options. That's what we're staring down. So if you're saying to yourself, I want to trade this, my thought is there is so much buying pressure underneath. Look at the relative swing index here. It's up at 10,000. People are just buying every single dip, and they're going to keep doing it until it stops working.
They're doing it right now, Anne-Marie. We're seeing 667 about to get crossed here.
Exactly. And so my thought would be, what if you have two thoughts for yourself, right? This tells us that by the time we get into November, we're in full swing. It breaks above the call wall, which is at 675 currently, right? So the call wall's up here. As they break, we've got upside pressure. If you're looking into the end of the year, this seasonality event is calling a region from 695 all the way to 725 in the SPY.
Okay.
And so, yeah, for me, I was like, wow, that's a bit shocking. But let's just play it out and see if we can get through the wiggles and let price action move. And we actually do 695 to 705 to 715. It's $1 for $1,000 of upside. I bet that we wiggle around for a couple of days and you might be able to get this for 80 cents.
Okay.
It's a beautiful way to, one, nothing's cracking yet. So you don't want to go out and buy, 100 of these. You just want to say, hey, let me see if I can position. If it pulls in a little more and I can get it even cheaper and I can get it for 50 cents because the market's going to take a little bit of a flush before it rebounds, I'm going to be in Fat Cat City, right?
Fat Cat City. I love it.
You like it? Hey, was I the only person that noticed that 13 quoted a Dr. Evil line from
the sharks with freaking lasers attached to their heads? No, we've actually been wearing that one out. We said that a couple of days ago too, but no, that's a good spot. Austin Powers references will get you everything around here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's what I'm thinking. For those of us that have a holy cow, I think we're just going off the rails kind of thing. Statistically speaking, where we would get the wiggles is between January and March, not between October and December. They're just statistically very strong. And institutions, instead of having just 1 trillion under management when we had great big dips, they now have 5, 10, and 15 trillion under management. And so the pervasive buy the dip is going to be here until something really dramatic breaks.
Yeah, I think so too.
And so we just, ride the wave and keep an eye on where the fire escape is.
Yeah, I totally feel it. By the way, USAR, which we talked about here, great play on this news here. USAR spiking to the highs. 35.88 is your high. The post here about the minerals thing driving this higher. Hopefully, I know we were talking a little bit about the SPY right there. Those buyers did step in. It is still kind of pinning here around 665, so there might still be a move there. But boy, oh boy, USAR, that was a great buy on that news.
Look at that.
MP is probably running with this, just like Webcoin is saying. Yep.
Yeah, not quite so much as that USAR, but there's a lot more participation here than in USAR. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me make my screen a little bit brighter. Okay, let's take a look at your Lulu.
Perfect.
A turning point in my marriage, in a good way, was when my husband came to me and said, "Please don't wash my clothes." I'll wash them.
What?
No, it's because I'm terrible at laundry. I'm horrific at laundry.
You just put the soap in and you hit the button that says go. I mean, it's...
Dude, it's not...
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean, and he's very particular. So I actually just saw him doing his Lulu slacks. And so I thought I would say
Does he turn them inside out?
He doesn't, but he also does everything on gentle. He's
just the delicate cycle. Yes. My delicate button is worn out from using the delicate. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
smart guy.
Yeah, he is a smart guy in a lot of different ways. But
by the way, market bouncing now.
Yep.
Bouncing big now.
Yeah, the pervasive bid is like nothing I've ever seen. And it's really going to take something systemically catastrophic to make this move. There's just too much financializing of everything, and too many people have too much money at stake to watch it roll over. Yep. So they are going to do whatever they can to get that done. So that being said, it still could wiggle around. It's dancing around this zone. They want to do it, but the sellers could also say, listen, let's just flush this. The buyers could all say, listen, hey, I'm willing to take some profit. I've been in here since $610 or wherever it is that they got in. And so, we could see a little bit of that. So here's Lulu. Lulu is showing an arc into December and then a roll off into the latter part, the first part of the year, which this is the weak quarter, right? So here we have this. The top edge looks like that 200 marker. I love what you're saying right there. And so we've got that statistical analysis there. What I put up for us is the December, expiring in December, the 195, 210, so that's $15 on the upside, and only $10 on the downside. And it's $1.60. Now you might go, gosh, can't we just make it a little butterfly-y and have it even as far as, giving it all the way to 200? And if we do that, here's what we see. If we do a 1x2x1 that's $10 wide, whoops, it's 65 cents, but the probability of hitting that mark is 5 times lower. The delta for the 200, 210, 220 is only 1.4. And the delta for the 195, 210, 220 is almost 5. And so it's 5 times more likely that this 160 investment pays off than the 200. Now, you might say, yeah, but if I buy 3 times, if I just buy 3 of these, I'll be spending a little bit more than that, and I could make 3 times as much. And if it just moves a little, it could work out. That's totally up to you, but both of those are pretty solid options right there in my mind.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I especially like that second butterfly.
Yeah. And it's got a lot of, if it wiggles, that call, those calls that you've sold is going to preserve the overall profit of the butterfly, right? If it comes
Yeah.
in, if it goes out, whatever. Okay, so the next one I want to look at was AMD because, you know, it went up like a rocket ship, and then all of a sudden it's fading off this line. So my thought is, what if this move up here was actually more of a short squeeze than a bullish press to the north? And so what that might tell us is that as long as we stay below $228, the near-term action suggests a dip to the base of the channel, right? Back into the 200 area, the big fat round number, where everybody's going to try and hold it. Once again, you can see towards the end of the year, it's got really upward seasonality. And so my thought would be, listen, it's going to have a dip. Then it's likely to rotate back up. The cross current between the 5-year and the 8-year lines, I find to be very interesting. So I like to choose the lower edge there. Same sort of thing. Be comfortable with being patient and position yourself into the updraft. So what I am thinking is the 230, 250, 270, $2,000 of upside, $200 of exposure. But if we get a good wiggle, I would say put this in the queue at 145. My suspicion is that we get ourselves a little bit of a fade. Fridays are normally very bullish, and instead we've got Friday weakness showing up. And that might be something to go,
We were talking about how it really kind of seemed that most Fridays and Mondays, for whatever reason, the market was up. But obviously today, that looks like that's changing a little bit.
It might be, but it also tells us, hey, hostages are supposed to be released Monday or Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't come, we have another updraft in whatever,
Mm-hmm.
in gold or whatever, because of the riskiness. Price action could come in a little bit. My sneaky feeling, because all week long, for the last 2 weeks, as we've ridden up that call wall, the put wall has stayed well below. It has not risen. The call wall's been creeping up a little bit at a time, but that put wall is right down there. So they are not keen on increasing their risk and moving that put wall higher, which tells me that they're hedged and they're trying to stay hedged into the next bit. The other big piece of news that might roll out next week is the ECB unveiling their digital currency. It has an October release date. I have no idea what that's going to do to the currency market. It's going to be very, very interesting. So we've got a couple of out there.
Wild cards, if you will.
Yes. Yes. And then the government shutdown, if they end up, I think he'll want to do something to defend the military paychecks.
No question.
But it's all about, are the other sides of the house going to be difficult and ask for extraordinary things? So we see this fade.
I think that's true as well.
You see this fade in SPY?
Yep.
It is, they could easily get people on the back foot. So don't buy the dip right away. Let it come in to very big congestion zones and work through it that way.
The dip buy was on USAR as that continues to print higher here. Had an impulse high of 37.75, And that is still trading higher here. Jay from the chat mentioning a lot of China names at low a day. I would expect that to continue.
Interesting. Now, the question is it worthwhile to look at these, like the FXI, to see if, so many people are long China right now? I'm like, why? I have no idea why, but it's only because I see the macro stuff of what's going on with China. So it gives me a little pause, but I don't know if, what does this say? October 10. And then we obviously are going to have something occurring around October the 20th. I see it in every single seasonality chart. It's just this dip and then a move back up quickly. So we'll be staring that down. That might be some kind of fun event we could plan.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll take it.
Yeah. So no, I don't like any of those. We could look at what's happening with gold. What's the team want? What does the Benzinga Pro chat want to look at?
Yeah, do you guys have any? I think they're probably just looking at this move. Let me know if there's one of those gold stocks that you want to take a look at. GLD would be one. I think AEM is one of the other popular ones that we talk about here pretty regularly. So I think either of those would probably be all right.
Yeah. So if we take a look at AEM, I have been waiting for AEM to come back into 150 so I can load up again. I have been long this one since about 78. I had no idea it was going to run like a rocket ship to the moon. And so it is currently doing that. I believe that miners become more sensitive in a pullback in gold than regular gold. So I think they move at a little bit of a different rate. But notice my Fibonacci from that looks like we started accumulating sometime in 2019. And now here we are at a 250% Fibonacci, which tells me that it could easily come back into the 140 and 150 range. The question is, how do you want to play it? And in this particular space, I would say, I still think it's in a buy the dip mode. The question is, how deep would the dip be? And as we can see, if we stare down the 1 hour charts, I still think that we look at this long term and say, this is a buying opportunity.
Okay.
And if we do that and we say, all right, if it's a buying opportunity, but it takes some time, how about I give it some time? How about if I say I'm going to go to December and I'm going to say 175 is the test? And maybe that's what it gets back to, right? So if I look at this and I go to December and I say 165 to 175 to 185, it's $1, right? It's not super cheap, but dips have been hard to come by. So that is definitely something to look at. For gold, which is, the biggest ETF of the bunch. And it's, got all kinds of things attached to it being up today. You could do, I think this one's tracking 400. Let's see. No, I do think it's going to track this one. So 370, let's see 370, 380. I don't know if something tiny like IAG, IM Gold, or 370, 380, 390. That's $1.15. Let's look at IAG. This is a baby. Let's see how it's been behaving. So if we go to the weekly here, holy smokes. All right, this one's calling 17 and then 20 by April. It's got a dip here in February. So let's see if IM Gold can give us something super cheap that might be fun to trade. Let's go to Jan. If it goes to, yeah, not great. However, Tim and I did something very interesting with a deep in the money call option, but we did it with one that was just a little bit more volatile than this. So, here we have the 14s at $1.25 and the 17s at 35. So that's only a $3 move, but it does allow you to position at least into the chart. And if you say, hey, let me just get put to this stock, and you sell the 11s, you're going to get it for $10.35, which to me, that's down here at the last major break. This one is in quite a run, just like all the gold stocks. If we do Fibonacci on here, we're going to see, look at how these fibs have just been.
I know, it's incredible.
You can tell that algorithmically, because price action has been so bonkers, they literally are just drawing the pictures and going, let's wait until it gets there. And then, so my thought is a pullback into 10, entirely possible. And then the eventual move into 20 by March. But this is a cheap stock, right? It's cheap, and they're doing some stuff. They're running like everything else. So a little bit exposure is not so bad, Yeah.
All right, we've got 3 minutes here. So if we do something else, we're going to have to go quick because we got Sandy right behind us. I know I was a little bit late.
Yeah, no worries. Here. You know what? Let's just take a look at JP Morgan and realize where they are positioned, right? So we noticed that JP Morgan, listen, they and BlackRock do the work for the Fed. They aren't going anywhere.
Yep.
They've positioned themselves in truly majestic fashion, right? And except for some wiggles, they have significant upshot. So if you're staring that one down, the next dip that we see, let's say something happens and it's a nothing burger for earnings, but it dips a little, time to buy some out of the money calls in a spread and look to that 340 level next.
Okay, Anne-Marie, really good stuff. I think we'll move over to Sandy here. Interesting Friday. You came on at a pretty interesting time. Your timing is actually pretty good. All right, good stuff though. Are you going to be around on Tuesday?
Yes, sir. I am.
Perfect. So we'll have Anne-Marie back on Tuesday. Do me a favor. Promise me you'll enjoy your weekend between now and then.
I'll do it. I know you will.
Yeah, no, I definitely will, man. I mean, I tell you what, the sports betting has been so much fun recently. Looking forward to another great slate of games, and my Cubbies are still playing ball after a big win yesterday. So could not be more thrilled about that. All right, Anne-Marie, really good stuff. We'll check in with you next week.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
All right, Anne-Marie leaves room for Sandy. Let's see how she's doing. Sandy, happy Friday. You're coming on at a pretty good time too here. The market is really pulling here, 662 now on the SPY. So what do you got coming up for us?
Yeah, we're going to talk about this tariff news that just came out and then
Perfect.
go through maybe a couple stocks or maybe looking at a couple stocks on my watch list for Q4. And we'll take a look at those charts and see what we could come up with, maybe some automated trades.
Okay, I've got a really good feeling about this. That purple nail polish that you have on is phenomenal. I absolutely love purple. Looks awesome. Folks, Trading Made Simple with Sandy starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fit-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Trading Benzinga, how is everyone doing today? So we just got some news just a couple minutes ago and the market just took a dump. So let's take a look and see what this looks like on Market Watch on Thinkorswim. You can see that the Dow, what are some of the names here that are green? We got a bank, we got a little bit of consumer staples. If we go to the NASDAQ, wow, take a look at that. That is deep red. Russell, ooh, a little bit in the industrials. Outside of that, a little bit of energy, but primarily red. S&P 100, again, consumer staples, right? And that's really what Q4 is all about, is this change in what's happening in the marketplace. That news, though, regardless, it doesn't matter how good of a chart analysis a person that you are. If there's a tweet, if there's some news that's coming out, it just blows your charts right out of the water. And as you can see, SPY right now, 661, down $9.80. Wow. I was looking at the ticks here while Anne Marie was on, and is around a negative 1,200 ticks. Now, if you guys don't pay attention to the ticks, it can actually be utilized as a chart as well. You would do the dollar sign and then tick. And then what that looks like basically looks like a chart, but really what it is just measuring, right? The calls and the puts. Are they positive or negative? Are people selling or are they buying? And when you see the tick, and by the way, the tick's outlier is typically 1,000. So when you see buying, and of course that'll turn green, buying, of 1,000, or you're seeing a negative of 1,000, that means, hey, let's pay attention to the charts and see what the heck is going on. So right now you can see that we're down on the ticks 922. Now, if you're a scalper, this is something that you basically take a look at when you're looking to get into the market to take a nice quick scalp, right? You're looking to see how much selling is actually going on. And right now we just hit the 1,000. Perfect timing, guys. This is the outlier. Let's get on this real quick on SPY. Let's take a look at SPY on a short time frame here, and you can just see on a 1-minute chart how far down we've gone from 673 to 660. Wow, what a dump. So real exciting option action happening right now with this type of distribution happening with that news. Probably will get a bounce back. And the reason I say that is because typically speaking, when we have a news event, they're short lived typically. It's like there's an initial reaction, and then you have all the algos that are controlling all these big institution trades. Okay. And if a certain number, or, as an example, if support gets broken, there's a flush in volume, it'll trigger a lot of these algos to automatically sell. And when selling starts happening, more selling starts happening. And when you have that, you kind of have this cascading effect. And then when the dust kind of settles, it's like, wait a minute, we might have overdone our initial reaction to this. So whenever there's a reaction, then there's a pause, and then it's like, well, maybe we overreacted, and then we typically get a bounce back. So we'll see if that happens today. But right now, look at this. As we're talking, constant negative 1,000 ticks, and really that is an outlier. So I was going to talk to you about some stocks right now. I'd have to say right now, If you were looking at some stocks, I'd look at some discretionary, consumer discretionary. Let's talk about, like, as an example, like Walmart. When we talk about tariff news, and let me get on a bigger time frame here so that we could see it kind of on a bigger frame here. You could see that Walmart right now, whenever we talk about the economy and tariffs and prices, people start tightening up their wallets, right? So these are the types of stocks that you're going to want to be taking a look at: discretionary, consumer staples, right? Walmart, Target, Costco. Let's take a look at a couple of those. Walmart right now on an up channel. You could see that we actually hit a high back in September 17th. We're on our way to do that again. We're in a rising flag here. And you can see where resistance is right now. This could probably start moving Walmart higher. This actually looks pretty good. And you can see where momentum, guys, momentum has been down for quite a while here. And now you can see it cresting above the zero line. This is the CCI indicator. If you're looking for a good momentum indicator, this is an old school one, but I love it because it's so simple to use. When that momentum indicator rises above zero, it's starting to tell you that there's more momentum going into this ticker. And when momentum goes into a ticker, you're really seeing volume enter. You're seeing the crowd moving towards Walmart in this example. If it breaks below the zero, then you're seeing people run away from the ticker. And so this gives you a very quick identification, right? You could see that Walmart right now is hugging that 20 EMA. You know that that 20 EMA is my favorite indicator to identify trend. If I'm on a day chart or any chart that I'm talking about and price is above that 20, we're bullish. If price is below the 20, we are bearish. That is how simple you can make this. Don't make it complicated. Trading made simple. It's kind of how we roll. All right, so now we got Walmart. So we have to take a look at maybe Target here. Target actually not doing so well. You could see that from late August all the way to September, really kind of we're at a support level here. We need to see a bounce on Target, or this could break even lower. And you can see the consolidation range for quite a while. So looking for Target right now, looking bearish. You can see on a day chart, momentum is below the zero line. Okay, so this is not looking good. Let's take a look at Costco. Costco looks like we came down to support, bounced right off of that consolidation range that I'm identifying with an indicator. We call this Darvis. If you're looking for an indicator that'll help you identify sideways action. And why is it so good to take a look at sideways action? Well, option traders love stocks that are in consolidation. And the reason is because when a stock is in consolidation, only two things can happen: either accumulation or distribution. And so we're looking for a big move either way. And as automators, by the way, if you don't know, tradingmadesimple.org, we are automators. We teach you how to automate on your own platform, whether it be Thinkorswim or IBKR. And what we like to do is identify where that support and resistance is, where the trend is, and then create an automated order to get in or to get out, right? If you have your rules set up front, like the institutions, and you program your automations in, then really what you're doing is you're trend trading with those big institutions. So that's what we try to do each and every week. Put on our trades on a Sunday night and just let them go during the week. So here on Costco, we're taking a look at a bounce from support, and we just are toying with that 20. Now, this actually looks really positive for a trend change. And the reason I say that is you can see on a daily chart that we've been in the red. Momentum. People have been leaving Costco for quite a while. And just recently, we gapped up. You see that gap? We gapped up and also created momentum above that zero line. So we have price above the 20. And by the way, it's actually retesting it right now, which is a great entry point. We also have momentum above the zero line. I like it. We have a little bit of a little bit of a resistance level here. Do you see that vertical trend line that's being created on my chart? So this could go a little higher to the 953 level, which is still, gosh, $20 away, still a nice play before it hits some resistance. And then that will be a deciding point whether we break above it or it stays as resistance and we go lower. However, Q4 is all about stocks, right? That are being positioned for the fourth quarter. What is Q4 really? Well, it's an economic view, right, of what's happening in our stock market, all the companies that are represented in the stock market. And what happens in quarter four of our economy? Well, the Santa rally is what happens. And not only that, but that's also when institutions start moving, right? They start moving their positions over. And typically speaking, when they start moving their positions over, they have to do it very carefully because they don't want to disrupt the market too much. We still got negative 850 ticks. That's still a lot. By the way, if you ever use the tick as an identifier for yourself, always think about around 350. You can get a decent candle out of it on a smaller time frame. But boy, when it starts to hit that 9,000, we are moving and you can see that the tick reading is red. We are moving to the downside. Let's take a look at what this looks like on Costco on a smaller time frame. We went down $7 today. When the market takes a dive like this, it's going to affect all stocks. But typically speaking, we definitely have where the stock market is extremely volatile in this month because of Q4 rebalancing of the institutions, as well as those institutions repositioning their portfolios. What's the other thing that institutions do, by the way, during Q4? Well, they actually start to, if they are in a position where they've lost money, they're gonna take the loss. They're going to actually solidify it. So when you're in a position, it's not a determined loss until you actually close the position. But Q4 is when those institutions actually start closing positions and taking their loss. Why? It's tax season, guys. Everybody wants to write off, right, their losses. And so this is another reason for the volatility as well as the repositioning of their portfolios. They're going to be solidifying that loss and taking it for tax purposes. Another thing that a lot of companies do during Q4 is they take a look at their budgets and they start to identify if they have any money left in a budget that they were supposed to use for like research and development or maybe software development, they're going to start utilizing it now. And the reason is because if you don't use your budget now, then come next year, when you ask for a budget or maybe a larger budget, they're going to say, well, you didn't even use your budget last year. Why should we give you a larger budget? So typically speaking, companies like Microsoft, CRM, let's take a look at those real quick. They will start to spend their budgets, create new agreements for software development, etc., to get rid of their budgets. So what this does too as well is it starts to change kind of the face of what's happening in our economy as a whole. So as we prepare for tax season and as we prepare for the Santa rally, you should start thinking about some of these stocks and positioning yourself to take advantage of that. So I really like Walmart. I also like Target, and I also like Costco. Let's take a look at Costco real quick. Right now, of course, everything is down because we had that big news on tariffs with China. That's a huge contract. I mean, wow. Take a look at almost anything that you buy. A lot of that stuff, a big percentage of it is coming from China. So this tariff news, if we get into a tariff war, this is going to be it could really affect our stock market. And then it's not going to matter if it's Q4, right? When the market goes down, it drags everything with it. And as you can see today, If we take a look at Market Watch and look at the S&P, there's not too much going on except for consumer staples. And that was the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was consumer staples. You know, when we look at consumer staples, we're thinking about things that we need no matter what. If I lose a job, I still need to eat. If I lose my job or I lose my savings account, I still need to brush my teeth, wash my hair, take a shower. I still need to use utilities in the winter time. And so these are like staples that people cannot just stop paying for. And so when everything is falling, you'll typically see utilities as well as consumer staples steady. So let's take a look at some of these. PepsiCo, Philip Morris, how interesting. Okay, so you have Coca-Cola, Walmart. What else is green here? Netflix, kind of turning red here, but Netflix still a little green compared to everything else. Healthcare. That's interesting too, right? You still need to get your prescriptions. You still need to go to the doctor, regardless of what's happening in your life if something's wrong. So these are the types of ideas that I want to put into your mind as we are listening to this news event that just occurred with tariffs with China, as well as with the economy, because it will hurt our economy as well. All right, so let's get into some automation. We have just a little bit of time here. If we end up taking as an example, let's take a look at Walmart because that chart actually looked pretty decent, I think. Walmart up 72 cents while everything is just completely down, right? I mean, take a look at Walmart and then, take a look at something like SPY down 768. We're getting a little bounce here off of some 15-minute support. QQQ also down, wow, down 960. And so when I take a look at Walmart and it's holding up well, that just means that when everything starts to recover and people start saying, oh, I think I might have overreacted, this is just going to get a little stronger. You can see, though, on a 15-minute chart, we are kind of decelerating here. But if we took a look at a daily, it's just now popping up over zero. I really like this. And the level that it looks like it wants to get to is 104.72. That's going to be our last pivot high. Where can it come down to? The only thing I don't like is that it keeps toying with the 20. Now, typically speaking, when you have price that keeps touching an important level, which is the 20, what will happen is you're just going to go sideways. And when you're buying an option contract, like a call or a put, you're really picking a trade vehicle like a sports car. You're picking this vehicle because you want that ticker to either accumulate fast or distribute fast. You don't want it to go slow. However, a trade vehicle that can handle some sideways action and still be trend trading is like a debit spread. So if you're cleared for spreads, or if you haven't tested spreads yet, I encourage you to do so, because this might be a great market environment to try to do that. We are right now just going sideways on Walmart. And I really would like one confirming daytime candle away from that 20. I see this as a bullish trade moving forward. So I think what I'll do is get into a debit spread and then identify where my stop loss would be. So here on debit spreads, by the way, guys, if you don't know how to do a debit spread, you're going to go over to your trade tab. We could do this for some weekly income. You go right over here to your spread drop down and look at all these trade vehicles that you have access to. Okay. So we're going to go over to the vertical. We call it a vertical spread, debit spread. We also have credit spreads, which is premium selling. But really, if you're looking for following a trend, but not having that sideways action really eat into your premium, a debit spread is a great vehicle to trade with. It kind of gives you, if you've ever heard diamond hands, it allows you to hold on to the position a lot longer. And it's really cheap, inexpensive to purchase. Let me show you the difference. So if we went to a single and we were going to buy a 103 call. It would cost us $147. Do you see that, guys? $148 right now. But if we go to a debit spread and do that same trade, here's 103, 104, it's $52. It's half the price. So this allows you basically to buy more contracts. It's less risk, but less reward. It's not going to act like a sports car. It's going to move a lot slower. And time decay actually helps your positioning. So you actually need that time to pass to really see the increase in this. But what I really like to use on debit spreads to make it easy is just to say, hey, look, if we get to a 50% profit, I'm going to start to remove some of my position. And if we get to a 50% stop loss, then I want to just completely take my position off the table. Now, since Schwab took over TD Ameritrade, they've kind of tightened up, made their, especially for spreads, by the way, their stop losses trigger happy. And so I don't like to use a stop loss on verticals in Thinkorswim right now based on the automation triggers. However, what I will do is just set an alert for a 50% stop loss so that I can get texted or alerted through an email that says, hey, you've reached that 50%, and then I'll come in and do that. And the reason is because in the mornings we have a high volatility, or like that news event that we just happened. And what that does is it makes the price of things just go crazy. And when that does that, even for a split second, it'll knock you out of a trade. And so knowing that this little change has taken place, because I've been automating my trades for about 7 years now, I've seen the change since the takeover. So it's very important to adjust and assimilate to those changes, right? In any, whether it be a market environment or the tools that you're using. So in this fashion, let's just go ahead and I'm going to take 5 of these contracts. And if we wanted to actually, let's see, program this, what's the high of the day? 103.63. We're at 102.99, 103. So why don't we say if we break today's high, which is a strategy, by the way, if we break today's high, we're going higher. And so if we break today's high, 103.63, I'll just round it up to 103.65. I want to get into this debit spread. So I'm going to go over here to the gear icon. You're going to see now this order form. And I'm going to come down here on the bottom part. The conditions are the most important. And I'm just going to just click, click, click. And what it does is it fills in the default. The default is Walmart because that's the chart we're on. The default is Mark. Now this, it automatically starts at the first trigger, which is less than or equal to. And I want greater than or equal to. If you're not used to using those symbols, what you can do is just scroll up and you can read your programming. So you could see that I've chosen greater or equal to. And then what did I say that was? Let's come over here really quick. Shoot, I'm going to have to save this order. And I'm going to come over here again. I should have wrote it down. Hold on for just a second as I get my cursor out of whack here. So that high was 103.65. I typically write it down, 103.65. Going to come back over to my order form. And I'm just going to type in 103.65. Seriously, that's how simple it is, guys. Now that we have the rules, the conditions that are met, because the whole reason that you open up the order rules form is really to fill in the bottom portion, because all of this you can do right in the front of the screen. So now that I have my specific programming in, and you can see where it says condition is satisfied, it's greater or equal to 103.65, I can tab out of that box. And now I can come over here and say, hey, look, I don't know what the option price is going to be when Walmart gets to 103.65, but I'm going to be an aggressive buyer and buy the ask. Okay. Now, if I hit buy the ask 00, I'm not paying any extra, but I am being an aggressive buyer, aren't I? I am being an aggressive buyer for this. You could use this as mark Let me just show you where that's at, mark. And that would be like in the middle of bid and ask. It's better pricing. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind, guys. Better pricing for this option. However, when you're doing automations, you really want to get in and out as quickly as possible. So if we were to discuss like the levels of quickness on a market order, it would be this. Market is the fastest, right? You're paying a high price and it'll automatically get filled. Okay. Then there's mark. That's in between bid and ask. And then you have either one side or the other. If you're buying the ask. If you're selling the bid. And then that's actually the second fastest. So you have market, which is the fastest. You have sell the bid, buy the ask, which is the second fastest. And then you have mark, which is in the middle of bid and ask. So from this drop down menu, I prefer buying the ask. Okay. And you can simulate with this and practice this until you feel confident. So if you ever use mark and you notice that your automation didn't get filled, it's because that price didn't stay there long enough for it to digest it and take in your order. So I like to do the second fastest, which is buy the ask. And now you hit save, and that's it. You now have your order in. And if we read the order form, you could see where it says, let me make this a little bit bigger. We're buying 5. We have our max profit is 275. Our max loss is 225. So at least you know, right, what the max is. We're only doing 50%. However, if there's a gap in the opposite way, could we possibly lose the entire trade? Absolutely. So you have to be prepared for that. But typically speaking, I like to use a 50% stop loss. If I get to a 50% profit, I'll start to remove some contracts. I'll take 50% of my, I'll take 2 or 3 contracts off the table and just have 2 runners to see how far much higher we could go and make additional profit. So that's typically how you would automate a vertical spread, as well as why a vertical spread, because it gives you diamond hands. You could actually hold on to it a little longer. Utilizing today's high, by the way, is a strategy. If you ever break the daily high or the daily low, that's a strategy, of course, to either go higher or to go lower. So this is important too, to identify, well, do I have to make, right, automation, difficult? No, you don't. You want to get into a position, you're looking at a chart just like we talked about it. Do I have to try to find some special level? No. You could use today's high or low. You could use the week's high or low, right? Depending on if you're going out maybe 30 to 45 days on a trade. If you're a longer term swing. I typically like these weekly swings because you can really kind of have your finger on the pulse of the market. Because just like today, look at that, guys, just like today, we're at 1,135 negative. We are diving. And what's Walmart doing? Walmart's in the plus. I like the trade. Look at SPY right now, guys, down $10. Whoa. So this is what happened when a news event comes. Regardless of whatever your charting analysis does, a news event can just throw it right out of the water. Well, guys, I hope that this was enlightening on how to automate a trade, the difference between a straight call and put and a vertical debit spread, and then how to automate that and not make it seem so difficult. You can do this each and every week and earn an income from it. If you want to learn more about automation and trade ideas, tradingmadesimple.org. Hope you guys have a great weekend.